Good morning, everybody. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. What a pleasure it is to serve you this morning. That's what we are here to do, to make you smile and roll your eyes and all of those things.
Can I top off your coffee, hun?
Yeah, top off your coffee. Top off your coffee. Don't call me hun either. It's very, very...
Only diner waitresses are allowed to call you hun.
My wife won't let me call people hun and stuff anymore. I used to. Oh, thanks, sweetie.
And she's right.
She's right.
But if you work at a diner, you're allowed to call your customers hun.
If I do it now, I'm a misogynist pig. That's what I've learned. I thought I was just a sweet boy with southern charm. No, you're a misogynist pig. Okay. All right. So I won't call anybody hun. Hey, how you doing, hon? Hey, sweetheart, how are you? And it is kind of creepy now that I think about it. If I really break it down, it is a bit creepy.
Do you call Hannah hon? Or
Yeah. I call babe.
Yeah.
Sugar teas is a big one in our house. Sweet angel. And then some, if it goes the other way, there's other, a-hole.
I'm not overly syrupy when it comes to our pet names.
I'm not surprised.
I get a lot. We do a lot. Hey, buddy.
Buddy. That's odd.
But in a sweet,
hey, roomie.
Yeah, kind of nice way.
You got the rent?
Hey, pal.
Did you drink my orange juice, please? Keep your hands off my orange juice. Thank you. Sweetheart. Buddy is it's an interesting one. I'm Woodsy. My buddy is Paul Reindl. He's our executive producer. My other buddy is Ben Higgins, a friendly neighborhood sports anchor. How are my buddies doing this morning?
Hey, how are you, buddy?
Doing good.
Not bad. I'm settling into my new
Yes.
My new quad.
Okay, so I want to get into your hair ASAP. So, Ben, for the first time ever, I think honestly about 2 weeks into meeting Ben, I said to him, "Where do you get your hair cut? Because it looks like somebody cut it with a shoe." And he said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "It looks like somebody cut it with like a shoe, like a dull shoe." And so he said, "I go to Sport Clips," and I laughed. And he said, "What? I got sports. I got the hot towel. There's a locker. It's cool. Like I'm in a locker room." And I said, "All right, but you're a grown man. Sport Clips is for little kids and stuff. And whatever. Grown man goes and gets a professional haircut. And we have argued about it for 7 years. All of a sudden yesterday, 9:21. I'll never forget it.
Yep. He
drops the hammer. "Yeah, I'm going to a salon today to get my hair cut." And it almost gave me a heart attack. I couldn't believe it. And so I want to know all of the details about your really first salon experience.
Well, I wouldn't go so far as to call it a salon experience. It was still a barber shop. It was a chair. It was a guy who had been recommended and wanted to cut my hair. A friend Tony had said, "Hey, give this guy a try."
And his name again was
Juan. And so I showed up for my appointment that I had scheduled with Juan, and he was ready, waiting for me, said hello, hopped into his chair, and talked a little bit about how I cut my hair, and he said, "All right," and he basically, just went to work, and he was definitely a lot more detailed than I'm used to.
Yes.
Sitting in the chair.
Yes.
It was a similar experience, but he took everything to the next level. He spent a lot more time
sides.
Even with on the sides.
Yep.
I mean, usually when I go, that process takes about maybe 60 seconds. With him, it was a good 15, 20 minutes of going carefully over everything, and then really carefully with the scissors as he's trying to. And then even as we went, I was thinking, my goodness, I've been here like 45 minutes. I've never sat in a chair this long in my life.
Yeah.
And he started using like a straight razor on my hair to shape it. And I go, I've never seen this before
this is
in
standard.
my life to kind of, he said, gives it a little texture so everything's not, exactly the same.
It looks phenomenal.
I appreciate that because I couldn't I'm like some people in our chat who say it looks the same.
Show the back.
I did show the back.
No, you got to move. You're covering up with your headphones. Look at, Paulie, you can see the major difference in the back of your head.
I will say, on the side, because you were telling us how you get your hair cut usually, and, I don't see a whole lot of the, shorter on the sides blending, but it looks clean.
It looks
good.
clean.
I'll take your word for it. The only time I ever see the back of my hair is when, they hold the mirror to the mirror and you kind of look from the side. And it's hard to tell how the back of your head looks. So I'm glad the back of my head now looks better than it used to.
Well, And the other thing, too, is now you see what somebody that truly cares about your hair will do, the effort they'll put in. It's like going to get surgery. Do you want a surgery you can get done in 15 minutes? Or do you want the guy to actually spend an hour taking your kidneys out or whatever he's doing? Hey, I'll get you in and out in 15 No, I don't want a 15-minute surgery. I want you to care.
We'll get you a hot
towel at the end. Oh, I'll do a 15-minute surgery as long as there's basketball on.
Out, get you a hot towel. Get you one of those little massage guns for a minute.
Now, was there also a like a feeling of I'm being pampered a little bit, taken care of a little bit? There's care involved. That's part of the reason that you go to somebody that's like a real hair artist.
I mean, I think there was professional pride.
Yes.
There was no it was not a luxurious shop.
Nobody's rubbing your feet or anything.
It was just a chair, and that was it. There was no coffee or extra, perks or anything.
Amenities.
In fact, you get more perks at Sport Clips with the hot towel.
That's fair.
And the massaging, vibrating chair and everything. There was none of that.
That's all bells and whistles to compensate for a crap haircut.
I'll tell you, the chair I sat in was so vintage. It had ashtrays built into it. That's how you know something's been around a long time.
I honestly can't think of anything cooler in the world. Sitting down, firing up a heater, and letting some guy cut my hair. I mean, that's like the dream for me. That is the dream. Man, I am so happy for you. And I hope you go back. Probably more than you wanted to spend. But you can tell the difference. It's like we've talked about it before. There's a few things that it's worth the extra whatever. Even if it's 50% more.
I mean, for me, it was about 40 to 50% more, but not ridiculously so. I think everyone knows what a Sport Clips cut costs.
Yeah.
So, add like 40% to that. Wasn't insane.
Yeah, you look great. You look really, really good.
Proud of you.
Yeah, I'm proud of you too. It's really stepping out of your comfort zone.
Based on your guys' reaction, I'm definitely going back.
Good. And listen, this is the next step. Then we're going to get you, because I don't wear jeans anymore. Do you, Paulie?
No.
I haven't worn a pair of jeans.
I haven't worn jeans in years.
He has jeans. Now we're going to get you some nice jeans. That's the next step. Some really nice jeans. I'll buy them for you for your birthday or something.
Swear to God, Ben, you can feel the difference.
And they last for a decade too. It's money. There's a few things you spend money on. That's one of them. And the haircut is definitely another one.
I started doing that probably in high school.
Yeah.
I put on good, Lucky or something, and you're just the denim. It feels better.
Bro,
it feels good.
We were telling these.
You don't feel like you're gonna get a rash by walking around.
I was telling these stories. There's a mom that we're really good friends with, and Bo and their son is they're their best friends, right? And he wants a new baseball bat, and the mom. He deserves a new baseball bat. He's outgrown it. And the mom is like, I'm not getting him the one he wants. And I go, why? She goes, it's too flashy. Looks like flames almost. And all the kids.
It's like a hot rod for baseball bats.
It's called the Hyped Fire, and all the kids have it. And it's expensive. She wants to get him another bat of the same price that is not the one he wants. So right. She's willing to spend the money. She goes, the Hyped Fire is just too flashy. And I said, you can't do this to him. And she goes, well, why not? It's the same price. I go, exactly. Get him the one he wants.
Now, we've all been there where, I remember, it was a black voodoo, the black magic voodoo bat.
Best bat I've ever had.
Black and red. It was
that was the voodoo. I had the black magic, black and yellow.
It was $250 at the time when I was, 11. And I wanted it because all the cool kids had one.
Of course.
My mom, absolutely not.
Absolutely
So I got
not.
the $40 bat. The Easton, the silver Easton.
The Terminator of bats.
The Terminator of bats.
Yeah. I don't know that I ever got a hit with it.
Right.
But that's at least a lesson you can learn.
Yeah.
If you're going to get the same value bat, I would
get him.
I would just want that bat.
So that's the thing. So I'm telling, she's like, well, I go, do you realize that you're going to do irreparable damage to him? She's like, no, that means he's spoiled. I go, no, it doesn't. I remember going with my dad school shopping every year. I'm in therapy still because of it. My dad would be like, what about these jeans? And he'd hold up these jeans. They cost $1 and they're way blue. And I go, I don't want those jeans. Why not? And I'm like, what do you mean, why not? Look how blue they are. He's like, oh, blue jeans are too blue now, I guess. It was a gang fight every time I went with this man to shop for clothes. A gang fight. I'd leave like crying and walking out with my blue jeans. I swear on my mother. He bought me a pair of jeans once from like Burlington Coat Factory, and I put them on. And the end of the day, when I took them off, my legs were blue from the dye. I had blue legs, and I was like, I hate everybody. And you just want to fit in. You want to look cool. And my dad didn't get, well, why not these shoes? Well, there's too much. They're too black. Now the shoes are too black. And I'm like, I can't do this anymore, man. So I told her, I go, if he wants the hype fire, get him the hype fire. If you're willing to spend the same amount of money, get him what he wants. I understand. Like, she's like, it's too flashy. It's not him. I go, it is him, because that's the one he wants. You get it for him. Look at this, man. Andy says, anytime I school shop with my dad, I always left looking 65. Yeah, you're walking out with some thick-ass New Balance sneakers, which weren't cool at all back in the day. There was another brand. Kepa was another brand. There was a British. Do you remember the shoes, British? They were like British. They were like a British. They had like a
brand.
Yeah,
I remember when shoes started becoming...
I'm starting to have hyperventilate.
You know, kids started getting like Nikes.
British Knights, yes.
And they weren't just white. And I used to always just have the regular plain white tennis shoes. But then kids started having cooler shoes, and it took me a long time to catch up.
My blue legs in the shower, trying to scrub jean dye. I told you these were too dark.
I remember wanting like, $90, which nowadays isn't that much for a pair of shoes, but like some Nikes. And my mom's like, oh, it's just, Payless has the same shoes.
Same shoes.
They're not the same shoes, actually. The $20 Shacks are not the same as the $90 Air Force Ones.
I know, dude.
And I will never ever forget, probably 12 years old, somebody's like, oh, what shoe size are you? You're growing and everything. And I did the old check the bottom of the shoe, which was a absolute tell that you go to Payless. They were the only shoes that still had the size on the bottom of the shoe.
On the bottom of the shoe.
So here I am at
12.
recess. I'm a 9. And then somebody goes, Paul gets his shoes at Payless.
Yeah, he's Payless Paul for the rest of his life.
I was done. I said,
You're
Mom,
done.
I hate you.
Yeah, I hate you. You're in therapy. It's just, Payless Paul for the rest of your life. Hey, look old Payless is here. Yep, that's me, old Payless Paul.
You wonder why I buy nice shoes now.
Dude, 100%.
It's traumatized.
100%. That's why I've spent $300 on jeans before. It's exactly why.
Paulie did make an observation last night that I thought was very... very accurate about what was going on yesterday. We will set the menu for the program coming up. Obviously, we are still on Roki Sasaki watch, so keeping an eye out if any news comes out. There was some news last night. We will share it with you coming up in our next segment. First, though, Woods, you are up first in the order this morning.
I am. I just wanted to let everybody know, too, today is actual National Nothing Day. Did you know that? Today is National Nothing Day, which is a perfect fit for this show. But wanted to tell you about Underdog, California sports fan. Great news. Underdog available to play right here in our state. Best place to cash in on all of your takes during the playoffs. Which players are going to go off? Which ones will be ice cold? Man, you got a lot of options this week. You really, really do. You got basketball. You got football. It's going to be a blast. Cook up some entries for a shot to win real cash all playoffs long. I have been winning. I've been having a blast. They are the only platform that puts the power to cash out right in your hands. You can keep it riding with your entry, or you tap the Win Now button, cash out whenever you like. And that's nice. You're like, I guarantee, you know what? I'll take it. I guarantee myself something today. That feels really, really good. So, Underdog, the best place to play. Pick 'em. Download the app. Sign up with the promo code WOODS. Deposit now. You'll get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. The promo code, again, is WOODS. You must be 18 and over, present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
You know, I like days like this. I like the days where we have to really, really dig deep. We have to explore the space. The canvas is blank, and we get to paint it.
So Paulie texted us last night, and, you know, we have kind of a rundown of, you know, he generally fills it in with some potential show topics, what's going on in the world of sports, Padres.
A little bit of a guide.
Just kind of a guide that, you know, we got 4 hours to fill, and we'll veer from script quite often.
Sure.
But it's good to at least have a starting point for the show. And he said, it's just me. It was like nothing going on today. It's like a blank page. It's an empty canvas. And my first thought was, you guys are just you're feeling the Roki Sasaki nothingness, the weight, and it's just kind of it's crushing everybody right now. It just feels like we're in a no man's land. But the world of sports does continue. It does go on. And then I started looking and I thought, wait, actually, Paulie's kind of right. That was a very, very quiet day. I mean, there were a few games, you know, a couple, you know, NBA games. Life goes on, but in terms of like headlines, anything of
I usually think of it in terms of news for our show, stories for our
show.
Sure,
there was some NHL action, some NBA
but in terms
action.
of like stories of note that, you know, were compelling and like
that our audience
interesting,
would care about.
You know, who the Cowboys are planning to interview for head coaching positions is not something we're really going to sink our teeth into. Robert Saleh, great. That's exciting news for Cowboys fans, I'm sure, but probably not something we're going to spend a lot of time discussing. So you were right. Yeah, I was like, oh, these aren't world's biggest sports headlines today. It was a very quiet day.
It's pretty funny, man. So I turned on the television last night, and it just happened to be on college basketball, and it was Loyola University of Chicago, where I went to college, playing Rhode Island, who's having a good year, 13-3. The Loyola University of Chicago Ramblers got off to a great start. They were 8-0 to start the season. Then the Sister Jean diss happened. They lost 5 of 6. Even though they made
that was
it
when
right.
Players didn't dap her up on the way off
Correct.
the court. They all ignored her as she was holding holding
her fist out.
Her 104 or 5-year-old fist out for a little fist bump, and not one player
blew past
dapped her up.
Heathens.
So they
105.
So they are they're feeling the effects of that. It's like the Kershaw meme, I guess, what happened. But they tried to make it right, and they ended up winning that game. But the funniest part was, it was cool, right? I'm looking, that's the gym. Like, that's the gym. That's where we used to play hoops and be in the gym. I really never went to many games there. So Bo walks in. He's going to be 7 in a couple weeks. He goes, "Oh, Loyola." I go, "Yeah," because I took him there last year. He goes, "What sports did you play in college?" I go, "None." And he goes, "What do you mean?" And I go, I didn't play any sports in college, buddy." And he goes, "So what do you do at college?" And I go, "It's school." He goes, "What?"
It's like high school or middle school. You didn't try out for the.
He
thought it was just a sports.
It's a sports
team.
He watches college football, and what does he see? He sees football.
Yeah.
Right. And I go, "What do you think it is?" And he goes, Wait. So there's school?" I go, "Yes, that's what college is." And he goes, "Oh." He goes, "Well, how much class do you have to go to?" I go, "I mean, let's call it 5 classes a semester, which is about, it's a few months." He goes, 5. I go, "Yeah." He goes, "I think I would do 1. I go, "Oh, you are just like me. You really are." He thought college was just like minor league sports. Like he didn't realize the concept of
He didn't think that all these players that he's watching are also going to class on the other days and writing papers.
He had
taking tests.
He had no earthly idea that college was school. He thought
30 other 1,000 people that go to that school and only go to school. They don't play sports.
The amount of people that play sports are so small, though, that everybody else is there, going to class. And he goes, "Well, what for?" I go, "To learn." I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
Wait. So I got to do 12 years of school, and then I got to pay out the ass for the rest of my life for 4 more years of
exactly.
school.
And I may or may not play sports. I go, "Yeah." I go, "Buddy, if you want to play in college," I said, "it's actually, for a lot of schools, it's going to be harder for the athlete because not only do you have to go to class and do all your work, but you got to go to practice and you have to eat right and you got to go do recovery and all that stuff." I said, "It's a big deal." And he goes, "Oh." I mean, that's funny. It was jarring to him that you actually had to go to college. And they never cease to amaze me.
The things you assume that your kids know, but I mean, why would they?
How would they know?
You've actually explained it to them.
So funny, dude.
All right, coming up this morning, there was actually later in the evening a bit of a Roki Sasaki news drop. Not, no decision has been made. You're not missing out on anything, but we'll give you the latest reporting on the situation coming up in our next segment. We've also got some SDSU basketball tickets to give away. Yeah, those, students at the school that they go to, San Diego State. They're playing Saturday against UNLV. Just pulled off an upset last night, beat Utah State. So nobody left undefeated in the Mountain West. UNLV coming to town. We'll give away some tickets in our 7 o'clock hour.
Real quick. Is that a good thing or a bad thing that the conference is kind of beating up on each other now?
Probably bad.
It's probably bad, right?
I think
it just
it's
makes everyone look more mediocre.
Yes, exactly. It diminishes the wins. It makes the losses worse. Whatever.
But the Aztecs are closer to first place now. They're just a game and a half behind first place because of the losses by New Mexico and Utah State over the last couple of days. So if you want to win your conference, it's a good thing. So it can kind of cut both ways. We've got Don't Do This. They're maybe a little Hall of Fame talk. They're going to announce the new class coming up in just a couple of days, I think on Tuesday. And they are, ballots are starting to be released that people are voting for their Hall of Famers.
And there's a guy we love, man. He kind of is the dad of Mad Friars. His name is David J., one of the more intelligent baseball writers and speakers out there. David's going to join us at 7:35. He's been kind enough to accept my early morning text. Wanted to get a little bit more clarification on what the Dodgers and Padres are currently trying to do today by adding space for more money to make a sweeter offer to Roki Sasaki. It is a little convoluted.
Even I'm a little unclear on the exact details of how this works.
And if done improperly, you could lose your gig forever.
You could be sent to Shawshank.
You are off to baseball Shawshank after that. So
it is a Throwback Thursday, so we'll play a little real or fake, try to qualify someone for our grand prize trip to Las Vegas. And since it's Thursday, we got another football threesome. Is it? We'll make our picks again?
Yeah, what's
like
the bet?
we did last week? Not a mesh shirt. How about that?
How about a cod piece?
What exactly is cod piece?
It's like a big, giant cup.
But it goes over the top.
Correct.
Why would you want to wear? I don't understand.
Like Gene Simmons used to wear
don't
one.
Understand the purpose of
I don't know
that,
why our show has gone full BDSM, but for whatever reason,
apparently
it has.
Reindl Report, and we'll turn things over to Annie and Elston at 10 o'clock. So we'll try to make something.
We'll have fun.
Out of a lot of
promise
nothing
you.
and have a fun Thursday here. We'll come back and talk about what happened with the latest Roki Sasaki developments in just a second. First, though, I've been playing Prize Picks for, about 8 or 9 months now. Learned about it early last year. They said, hey, give it a try. If you like it, you can talk about it on the radio. I did like it. I had never really done the online daily fantasy sports before. Prize Picks made it really easy. Really fun, really safe. 10 million members, can't be wrong. Billions of dollars in awarded winnings. All you have to do is pick more or less on daily fantasy lineups between 2 and 6 players. Set as few as you want, set as many as you want. You play your way, you run your game all season long. Right now, obviously, with the football playoffs, a lot of attention on this weekend's games, and they've got all kinds of different stat projections for players like Patrick Mahomes and Jared Goff and Derrick Henry, rushing yards, passing yards. You can play the way you want with Prize Picks and combine them all together and win real money. It's very easy. When you sign up and download the app, make sure to use our code KWFN because you're going to get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. Hey, that's like 10 $5 lineups right there. And because you can win up to 1,000 times your money, I mean, $5 into $5,000, not easy, but you can do it. Or, turn $5 into $25, $30. That happens all the time. I've done that a bunch, and you can as well. So use code KWFN, get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup with Prize Picks. Run your game. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for details. No one should be surprised that Roki Sasaki did not make his decision yesterday. It was fairly telegraphed by his team that probably not going to come until later in the window here that he's got between January 15th and January 23rd. But you also have to be prepared that, you know, once the news gets out, I don't think it's going to stay a secret for very long.
Yeah.
So far though, nothing. Crickets on Roki Sasaki after day one of the window. But we did get a little bit of news last night, Woods, from Mark Feinsand of MLB.com. Said, according to sources, both the Dodgers and Padres have been calling teams with regard to trading for international bonus pool money with the hopes of bulking up the amount they could offer Roki Sasaki. By Jack Harris, first to report the Dodgers' interest in adding to their pool. Also, one executive said, quote, there are a number of teams asking for international money, some that you would guess and some that you would not. The Dodgers and Padres are certainly reaching out, but they aren't alone. Other teams are recognizing opportunities. So, it sounds like both the Dodgers and Padres, at least, I don't know about the Blue Jays, but the Dodgers and Padres still both feel like they're very much in play for Roki Sasaki and are doing everything they can to get all their ducks in a row and be able to offer him as much as possible. If money is going to make a difference, even though it's a fairly small amount when in baseball terms, they want to make sure that they can offer what they can offer for Roki Sasaki.
And it leads me to believe that the Padres are still in it. You know, if you're still out there making moves to clear up space, then that means that, yeah, no decision has really been made yet, and you want to be able to present the best and kind of final offer. How long do they have to do this? Till the 23rd?
Well, they can do it all year long, but, I mean, Roki has to sign by the 23rd, so I'd imagine you have to have it all amassed before you actually do sign him. So the question here is money actually a motivating factor? A lot of people will rightly point out, if he was driven by money, all he had to do was play in Japan 2 more years.
Yeah.
And he could have come to the United States and signed probably a $300 million plus deal like Yoshinobu Yamamoto did. So it doesn't sound like money is of primary concern to Roki Sasaki.
Yeah.
However, we also, I think, sometimes go too far the other direction when we look at that, because there is a difference between around $10 million, which is what the Padres could bulk up their international pool to with trades, and around $8 million, which is what the Dodgers can bulk their pool up to. There's a real difference in life between $8 and $10 million for someone who, has not grown up wealthy, was grown up essentially almost orphaned by a tsunami.
Yeah.
This is life-changing money either way, and, a couple of $1 million might actually be a real important incentive for Roki Sasaki, not knowing, it's pitching. You might not stay healthy. You might not be as good as you thought you were against.
You may not get to that big.
You may never get to that.
You can live pretty well on $10 million the rest of your life, but you'd probably rather have 10 than 8 if you were relying on it. Now,
And I think though, if you look at it like that, then that means that money is in fact important to him, which it should be, and it should be
in the way
everyone.
that it's important to everyone. Kind of.
That being said, though, where I'm going with this is, if you're LA, you're able to say, yes, Shohei has the lion's share of the endorsements here, but that doesn't mean that there's not plenty to go around for you. We obviously have a giant Japanese community here that serves Shohei and Yamamoto, and you're going to fit right in, and you're going to make tons of endorsement opportunities, which I think he would. I think he would make that anywhere he went. But I wonder if that sweetens the pot for him to go to the Dodgers. I don't know. I don't know what their situation is, but I do know, that's something that the Padres front office needs to be, looking at too. How can we get this guy? How can we make this guy more money as he's playing on a pittance for a guy of his caliber?
We do know the Padres did not sign any other players on the first day of the international signing period. Normally a very active A.J. Preller sort of day when he adds players like Leo Dallas DeVries and Ethan Salas. He's had the number one prospect each of the last 2 years, but they've clearly put a lot of eggs, if not all of their eggs,
every international egg,
in
right?
the Roki Sasaki basket. Yeah, they can make one heck of an omelet with the number of eggs they have put in this basket. And, for good or ill, if they get him, you'll say that was smart, that you dedicated all your resources to make sure you land this guy. If they don't get him,
sucks, man.
Obviously it's going to look like it was foolish. You chased a dream that never materialized. You could have gone and signed a bunch of other international players. You may lose some of them now, and it will have a cost. So this is a gamble, for the San Diego Padres and a little bit for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Obviously, they don't feel like it's as franchise-defining of a gamble as the Padres do.
Yeah.
But the Padres have been all in on this pursuit.
For a long time.
And now they are playing the last waiting game. I said last night on Channel 10, it feels like we're in the end. We are in the end game now, but the last, acquiring of bonus pool, additional money, this is the last tiny bit you can do to try to convince him to come over to your team.
James says, can't a team only trade for $250K at a time? So to get to that 10 million mark, that's 10 players. But
you can trade in increments of 250, but you could trade for 750 with one team,
right?
For one player. I was just looking up an example from a couple of years ago. Like the Twins traded a low single A, 16th round draft pick from the year before for $750,000 in international bonus pool space.
But is there a cap on how much international bonus pool money you can accumulate, or can you just trade your whole farm system and have $12 million?
You can only add up to 60%. We'll talk to David J about this, but you can only add up to 60% of what your original bonus limit was. So the Padres started in the range of what was their bonus limit again? It was around $7 million,
7.2 or something.
So whatever 60% of that is 30. Or 4, they can get up to somewhere in the 10 to 11 million
bucks.
Yeah, Dodgers are a little lower. They started $1 million lower, so they can only add a little bit. They can add less than the Padres, so they can only get up to somewhere in the $9 million range.
So
8 to 9.
I think it behooves AJ Preller then to try to get the max, get as much as you can possibly get, and present that offer to Roki and his agent, and hope that that's enough to close the deal.
Now, you don't want to give away prospects if you're not, if it's not going to serve your interests, and you will have to. I mean, even if they're low-level prospects, you are giving up guys from your organization, so you don't want to do too much of that. But if it guaranteed you Roki Sasaki, and I saw the point made yesterday, you would just do it. You would give up whoever you had to give up to acquire that space. If it was the difference between getting him and not getting him, there's nothing you wouldn't do at this point. You are all in, and you would just do it to make sure you had enough money.
Be interesting, man. I spent, I had a busy day yesterday, but I was kind of scrolling aimlessly looking for any report, and it's going to be big. It's going to be big when it happens. I'm hoping it happens soon. I'm ready to get this over with. I don't know about you guys. I'm ready to get it over with.
Yeah, I mean, one way or the other.
Move on.
It feels like it's time to move on.
This isn't like a story that popped up a couple of weeks ago, and you're like, "Oh,
wow,
Padres are in on this.
We're
Okay,
in on
this is
this."
exciting." This has been, recently, weeks and months, but really, it's been years.
It's been years,
and I'm ready for it to be over.
Yeah, and I hope we get him. Obviously, hope we get him. It would feel good for this fan base to get a guy like that, and knowing he picked you over the Dodgers would be great.
Now, either way, the Padres still have work to do. Whether they get or don't get Roki Sasaki,
No doubt.
It feels like it's kind of held up everything in the offseason. And you're asking the question, well, other teams have been making all these moves. Is there anything left? I've got the answer for you here, and we'll get to it right after a check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Got a number of trouble spots here, guys. Solo vehicle accident, eastbound 905 at Caliente. This car struck the center divide. Also northbound side of the 805 before the 54, two-car collision over the right shoulder. Got a crash on southbound 15 past Ocean View. This appears to be blocking that right lane. Watch out for what looks like a big rock or cinder block in middle lanes, north 5 coastline before Delmar Heights Road. And collision on southbound 15 before Gopher Canyon. That's in the center divide. And Kelly Danick with Ben and Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So I just was curious, okay, how much of this offseason is really passed by the Padres? Because it feels like a lot. So I went back to the beginning of the offseason when ESPN released their list of top 50 free agents. And I go, all right, how many are actually left? And I was surprised to learn that 18 of the top 50 still remain, including 13 of the top 33. So a full third of the best 33 free agents, more than a third, are still available and have not signed on the open market yet, and dozens still remain on the others of note list. So it's not like you're walking down the aisles of the supermarket and it's empty. It's been picked over, hurricane's coming, and there's nothing left but, one can of beans. There's actually quite a bit. Now, are some of the premium items gone? Clearly, yes. There's been plenty of signings. The Corbin Burnses of the world, They have gone. They have signed. Juan Soto has signed. But there's actually a large number of players still remaining. And, Woods, we can kind of go through some of that as the show goes on. Like, who could the Padres, I don't want to say pivot to, because pivot, means you're changing your plan. I don't think they're changing their plan.
Yeah, this would not be a pivot. A pivot would be like, I wanted Corbin Burns. He's off the market, so I signed.
And I don't think they ever
No.
did. So they're not really pivoting. This was always the plan. But who are they targeting that is still remaining on the market?
I've heard nothing. No whispers about the Padres being connected to one single free agent other than, maybe guys that have been here before. The Peralta, and I haven't really heard Peralta being mentioned as bringing back, but Jurickson Profar obviously is a name that many fans want back here.
And speaking of Jurickson Profar, the question of what teams are willing to pay him and his value seems to be an interesting one around Major League Baseball. Mike Petriello from MLB.com wrote a piece about Jurickson Profar last night. We just found out he's going to join us at 8:35 this morning. Talk a little bit about Jurickson's season, and was it a mirage or was it real? Can he duplicate that again? Is he worth a big raise, or should teams be wary about what Jurickson did last year?
And the more I think about it, if you ask me, Woodsy, will Jurickson put up a similar type season if he goes to Atlanta or New York? I would say no. Woodsy, would he put up a similar type season if he came back to San Diego? My answer is probably yes. We've all said it. We've said it. We beat it like a drum. He is a Padre. He's built to be a Padre. He has said it before. This is where I feel best. This is where I'm most comfortable. This is where my family's comfortable. Tatis is one of my best friends in the world. this is where I belong. And I get it, man. And I get that he has he needs a raise, certainly. But what is the sweet spot for Jerks and Profar remains such an interesting offseason question.
So we'll talk with Mike Petriello about that coming up at 8:35 this morning. First, though, I want to remind everybody that the Biggest Fan contest is returning. You might remember the Biggest Fan. Here's how it works. You put your name in to qualify. You can do that like right now at 973thefansd.com/biggestfan. And then starting on January 27th, we call names 3 times a day at 9 a.m., 1 p.m., and 5:30 p.m. to qualify listeners for our grand prize drawing. And the grand prize is a really good one. It's a night in the Odyssey Suite at Petco Park with 20 tickets for a Padres game coming up in 2025. Winners last year had a blast. You've got a chance to win again this year in our Biggest Fan contest. Again, just register now. That's all you have to do is get your name in, and then starting January 27th, we'll explain further, but you're listening for your chance to call back and qualify. 973thefansd.com.
That's how you get your name in.
/Biggest Fan.
There you go.
Real names only, please, though.
We actually have an example of what it will sound like when the contest is running.
Oh.
Like I said, put your name in the hopper right now. We will draw names, and you got to listen at the right times.
Yep.
And it might sound something similar, at least, to this. Like, this was 2020.
A year ago?
2020.
No, 5 years.
5 years ago this week.
833-288-0973. You got 10 minutes. Dixie Normus. Dixie. Why are you laughing? God.
Oh my God.
That's the name on my list here.
What's it again?
Dixie Normus.
You could catch it when he catches it.
Oh, you're doing the Simpsons thing on me.
The Simpsons thing.
Nope.
The Bart Simpson.
I'm pouring sweat right now. I did not know that.
So sorry. Why?
I instantly regret it.
I am sick today. Really, today of all days.
I instantly regret what just happened.
I've been nervous for the last hour.
I'm shaking right now.
I've been like, oh God,
Ben, I'm so
45
sorry.
more
I'm so
minutes.
sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so
20 more
sorry.
minutes.
I'm
I'm
not
so
even
sorry.
at
I'm
my.
so sorry.
I'm not even at my best.
I'm so sorry.
You
can hear though. He actually did.
I didn't even look at it until
Proof
the last
that he
second.
is Ron Burgundy. My heart right now. My heart is pounding out of my chest.
Really, right before the raps too. You just want to make me feel as bad as possible.
Yeah, it's like a pile on. Adam was so mad at me for that.
Yeah.
He did not like the fact that it said Dixie Normus.
I mean, Simpsons didn't
say it
invent
again.
it, but Bart would call Moe's Tavern
Dixie.
and give a name like that. And
Dixie
then they'd yell
Normus?
out, hey, is Dixie Normus? Dixie Normus. Is he anyone here? They would do that on like every other episode.
Seymour Butts.
Seymour Butts.
Seymour Butts here.
There's a Jenna Tolles that makes her way on Twitter sometimes. That one I can't say, Diesel. Oh, no, I can. He was actually on this radio station. Mike Hawk was on one of those shows on The Machine. Here we are, and my name is Mike Hawk. Say it fast.
Don't say it fast.
Say it fast.
Don't say it fast.
What a...
All right, loser for their NFL picks has to say the name fast.
No, it's got to be worse than that.
There's Mike Hawk. There's also someone with the same first name, but his last name is Hunt.
You cannot do that one. That's the one you don't
That's a
want
really bad
to
one.
do. That's the one that you don't want to say. We should probably just end this fun.
Throwback Thursday fun.
Huge ass.
Hugh Jass. Amanda Hug and Kiss.
Hug and kiss.
Yeah.
I mean, I could do an hour on these.
100%. But Dixie Normus was one of my favorite moments. That was 5 years ago.
5.
Where has the
5
time
years ago
gone?
tomorrow.
Where has the time gone?
Dixie Normus.
Oh man, that was great. Dixie Normus.
But Paul, thank you for the example of how the Biggest Fan
I want
contest.
How it
to
works.
inform our listeners.
Does.
I'm sure we've got some new listeners since 2020. So
Now, Dan
that's what you'll
puts
hear.
one in the chat. This is very blatant. Schlong Dong Silver.
No,
I don't
no
think
one's
that's
getting,
going
even I
to
wouldn't
work.
even I wouldn't get fooled by that
A guy
one.
by the name of Schlong. Schlong Dong
Yiddish
Silver.
of some
Yes,
sort.
Yiddish. That's fantastic. That was pre-COVID, you guys. Holy cow.
Oh, it was 2020. It was
like right before.
just right
Yeah,
before
'cause we
the
were in
start
here.
of it all.
And then somebody made us name tags and sent them in.
That's right.
And Ben had a Dixie Normus name tag. was great.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right, we still have coming up in our 7 o'clock hour. We'll have Don't Do This, and David J is going to join us to explain a little bit more about the mechanics of the bonus pool money. Are there other international prospects that the Padres could still go after? How does this work? I mean, in an ideal world, you sign Sasaki and you still can add a few international prospects as well, or is that out the window if you sign Roki Sasaki? We can get into a little bit of the details of the process here with David J coming up at 7:35.
Yeah, and we'll talk about how you have to be really careful when you're playing in this arena. Bring back the story of John Coppola. You may remember him, you may not, but he was banned from baseball. He's the former Atlanta Braves GM for doing exactly, what they're looking to do right now.
Coming up next on The Fan. So I got to thinking, it's not out of the question that the Padres could still end up having, I think, what we all deem a really successful offseason. Even though they haven't made any major league moves yet. It's not out of the realm of possibility.
Tyler Wade just doesn't exist to you anymore? Or?
That's a good point. Well, I mean, I think, offering arbitration to your own players is, I'm going to say, it's kind of the minimum standard at this point.
Yeah.
But, as I mentioned earlier, there's still 18 of the top 50 and 13 of ESPN's top 33 free agents still on the board.
Okay.
Now, have no idea if the Padres have been actively talking to any of them other than number 2, who is Roki Sasaki. If the Padres land the number 2 available free agent in the offseason,
pretty good.
That's a really good start.
Yes.
I don't think they're going after number 5 or 7, Alex Bregman and Pete Alonso.
No.
Not that, there hasn't been some Pete Alonso talk in the past, but, he just doesn't seem to be drawing the kind of interest that I think he expected this offseason. I mean, the Mets still kind of want him back, but I think they know they're in a much better negotiating position after other teams that had been interested filled their hole at first base.
Oh. Also, there was a rumor that came out yesterday that the Mets are interested in putting together a package for one Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who would be ridiculous in New York City with Juan Soto and Francisco Lindor. Can you imagine that top 3? Lindor, Soto, Vladdy.
Would also probably mean the end of Pete Alonso's tenure.
It would definitely mean the end of Pete Alonso's tenure.
Would that open a door in Toronto? I've got no idea. But number 9, Jack Flaherty, still has not signed.
Rumored to be mutual interest with the Angels.
He's the number 1 starting pitcher outside of Sasaki, still available. Number 12 is Anthony Santander.
Yep. Heard some whispers. Atlanta here. I've heard a couple of little whispers about Santander.
Back to pitching. Number 14, Nick Pivetta.
Not a word.
Nothing. Very quiet.
Ice cold on Nick Pivetta.
Number 19, Tanner Scott. Padre top reliever, still available on the market.
I'd do some pretty filthy things to get Tanner Scott back here.
He's
pretty filthy things.
Like in any other year where we weren't so financially strapped,
right?
I'd be like, top priority. Bring him home. Bring him back.
He's okay. Like, yes,
nasty.
losing Roki to the Dodgers will suck or would suck. If Tanner Scott to the Dodgers may actually break me. Like broken. Like I'm broken on the floor.
You could even...
He's so filthy.
I think you could argue it would be at least just as bad, if not worse.
It would kill me.
To make an already elite bullpen that much better.
It does feel like if the Padres get Roki Sasaki, the Dodgers will immediately just...
Tanner Scott.
Just to change the narrative.
Yes.
Go, we're taking Tanner Scott then.
I swear
we're taking Profar just because we can.
I think he's asking for like 20 is the rumor I saw, 20 a year. I mean, it's like, that's some serious scratch. Some serious scratch.
And then we get to the Padres on the list. Number 24, Jurickson Profar, and number 25, Ha-Sung Kim. We'll talk again to Mike Petriello about Jurickson Profar's market, why he has... It's been very quiet. I mean, there really hasn't even been a single Jurickson. He said, I think it's been a month since the last time Jurickson's name was even mentioned in MLB trade rumors.
I saw early in the process, the New York Yankees would be interested in a Jurickson Profar. I also saw, again, the Atlanta Braves as a team to watch for them. And, I said it earlier. I stand by it. I root for Jurickson Profar. Will he be the same player there? And maybe you can't look at his year in Colorado and go, well, that's what's going to happen if he leaves here. It's probably not. He figured something out last year. There's no question. He had a really good year. And he's out there working right now to get better. So you
don't go from literally the worst player in baseball one year
to one of the best,
an MVP candidate the next year without figuring something out.
Yeah, it's hard to say it was a total and complete fluke, right? So, but what's the sweet spot on him? What do you pay that you feel comfortable paying and that he's comfortable with?
As for Ha-Sung Kim, we mentioned a little bit yesterday, coming off the shoulder surgery, has not really found the giant, multi-year market at this point. And the team that seemed like it was most interested, the Giants, went out and got Willy Adames quickly, which has left Kim in a bit of a no man's land. Does that open the possibility for a return to the Padres? Maybe. but they also seem to have other priorities right now than, middle infield. So not sure where that leaves Ha-Sung Kim. Back to the relievers. Number 27, Carlos Estevez is still unsigned.
Okay.
Number 31 to me is a very interesting, potentially Padres target. Andrew Haney, who the numbers you went like 4-14 for the Rangers last year, but the numbers weren't actually that bad. It's like a 4 ERA. The underlying numbers aren't terrible. Threw a bunch of innings, could definitely be a back of the rotation type starter that, I would think multiple teams would be interested in, but he's just sitting out there without a ton of talk this offseason. So he's still there. More relievers, Kenley Jansen at 32, Kirby Yates at 33.
Both Yates had a great year last year.
Did.
A great year.
Now, obviously, he's definitely on the backside of his career. What is he, 38
yeah,
now?
Something like that.
So, maybe that's keeping teams from being aggressive in their pursuit.
He'll get a job.
Oh, yeah.
He'll get a job late.
Number 42 is Max Scherzer. I just have no idea. If he could put together one decent season, I mean, I think any team would be happy to have him.
No bad one-year deals, right?
The question is, are you just burning the money if you give him a one-year deal because there's just nothing left in the tank? Number 44, Spencer Turnbull. Number 46, Yohan Moncada. Number 48, J.D. Martinez. Maybe some interest there, DH type. And then number 50, David Robertson are your still top 50 free agents. They're still unsigned here as we hit the second half of January now, and we're less than a month away from pitchers and catchers reporting across the league.
Yeah, there's and you go below the 50, there's still some interesting players out there. Connor Joe, hometown kid, he's available as well. Can play first, can play some outfield. There's interest in
Tommy Pham's still unsigned.
Tommy Pham is still out there, just chilling. Like professional hitter, Tommy Pham didn't have the greatest seasons here, but you know what? I think there's still a little something left in the tank.
Yeah, there are dozens of names beyond that top 50 that are still unsigned and available. And again, it's not the top of the market, but those are guys who are going to want jobs when the season starts. And there's not going to be room for them on every team. The Padres will make some moves and land some players, before the start of spring training.
Yeah, very patient right now.
It just seems very inevitable. It's just we've all had to be extremely patient and do a lot of waiting here this offseason.
Yeah, the waiting is the hardest part.
So, it's not the market, again, it's not completely empty. There still is a bunch of stuff to, sift around. You just have to be kind of a little more discriminating about what you're looking at, knowing, all right, there may be a bruise on this apple, but it's still
you eat around
it's still a pretty good apple, and you can eat around it. You just cut off the slightly bad part, and you're getting a really good deal on the apple.
I would absolutely never,
because it has a little bruise on it. Yeah, well, I mean, this is the fruit that is just not visually perfect,
right?
But still more than nutritious enough to sustain your
the job done.
Get your recommended daily allowance of vitamins from some of these guys. They're just not the sexiest of names that are left on the list.
No, it's fair. It's fair. And again, the correlation between Roki Sasaki signing and the Padres making other moves in free agency, there really isn't one. I mean, it's different pools of money, and it's a totally different thing. But I don't know. I mean, I do like to think that their entire focus is on Roki Sasaki right now, and that's okay with me. I'm absolutely okay. There's nobody that's come off the list that I looked at and said, we have to have that guy, and we can totally afford him, other than maybe Kyle Higashioka, right? Like, that one was a little bit, okay, we probably could have used Higgy back and seemed to make a lot of sense. Wasn't a ton of money, et cetera. But that's really the only one. Like, I knew we were going to be a little bit thrifty. We all knew they'd be a little thrifty this offseason. I was never expecting Corbin Burns. I was never expecting the big top free agents. So my expectations they're fine. I mean, that's where I'm at.
The Snell one stung because we had just kind of started talking about, like, all right, maybe there is a way to get creative and bring him back. God, we could use him. He seemed to love it here.
Yeah, he'd be great.
But you didn't think it was really going to happen. But then for, like, I don't know, a week later, him to sign with the Dodgers.
Yeah, it was a pipe dream for sure. We'd all heard rumors and mutual interest and everything else.
Right.
And you're like, let's get real creative.
The sting is the fact that it was the Dodgers.
That he went to the Dodgers, yeah. So that's
he goes
what
to
it
the
was.
Twins. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Yeah, I can kind of make the argument either way about whether you get Roki Sasaki or not. how it changes your offseason going forward. If they don't get him, I mean, obviously pitching is an imperative. You don't have a starting rotation necessarily going into the season. You're going to have to rely on Matt Waldron and probably figure out whether it's Randy Vasquez or stretching out Adrian Morejon. There's not a great list of options. So
if they don't get Roki, then almost all of a sudden I'm like, Martin Perez for $3 million.
He's already
signed.
He's gone.
We couldn't have gotten him.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can say that if they don't get Roki, okay, you've kind of left yourself. But even if they do, you sort of say, well, you kind of want a 6-man rotation. So you sort of still need a name like an Andrew Haney or someone like that as well.
You could still get Andrew Haney and Roki Sasaki. You still need a left field. Like, if you don't get Roki, if you get Roki, you're like, well, our left field problem solved. No, you have 2 separate pots of needs, and Roki is his own. And that money, you may have more international bonus money to spend than you do regular money, Ben, on free agents.
I mean, ultimately, I look at the rest of the offseason, and here's what if I want to call it a success, here's what I would kind of like to see. Land Roki Sasaki, sign another pitcher like an Andrew Haney, bring back Jurickson Profar, and trade for a catcher.
We
somehow.
ride. Yep, we
and
ride.
if they do all 4 or even 3 of those 4 things and then address something else in spring training or in the season, I'd be pretty okay with that for the Padres offseason. I'd be pretty happy about how it went for the Padres.
Yeah, I would be very juiced up for spring training. Roki goes to the Dodgers. Mike Brousseau's the starting left fielder. Brett Sullivan's the backup to Luis Campusano. I'm still going to be excited because I love Padre baseball. That being said, that's 2 different off seasons entirely. So we will see what happens, man. We are playing the waiting game just like all of you guys haven't heard anything. But what I wanted to tell you is if you have joint pain, do not play the waiting game. That's something you do not want to do. I did it. I tried my own little remedies of I had really painful wrists, and I had all sorts of braces and creams, and nothing worked. I would tape my wrists and my fingers. Everything sucked. But I went to QC Kinetics, started getting the treatment in both my wrists, and both of them are so good to go. Was hitting off the tee yesterday. Feels so good. Been playing golf. Make the decision this year to say, no, I'm not going to continue on with this joint pain in my knees, my hips, my back, my shoulder, my wrists, whatever. They are the nation's leader in regenerative medicine and joint preservation. And as you get older, it's just you get a little creakier. So they use an array of natural solutions like PRP to attack the pain from arthritis. So many people discovering these cellular treatments. They're living life again, back doing all the things they love to do. If you want to learn more, all you have to do is call QC Kinetics for a free consultation. Stand behind them 1,000%. Deal with joint pain now. Make the most of the new year by calling 619-614-PAIN, 619-614-PAIN. It's QC Kinetics at 619-614-PAIN.
Don't Do This is coming up next. Could one quarterback's family potentially undo his entire team's playoff chances going forward? Get to that next after traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
Don't Do This, brought to you by Trust and Will. Don't leave your entire estate, house, kids, and life savings up to chance if and when you die. Do set up a trust or will online at trustandwill.com. It's a lot more affordable than you think. Visit trustandwill.com for more info.
I trust you, and will you do the first story?
I will. Thank you for trusting me.
You're welcome.
Woods, and we will start in the NFL with the Los Angeles Rams. Their quarterback, Matthew Stafford. Well, actually, his wife, Kelly Stafford, who is has that podcast, the Morning After, kind of pulls the curtain back, behind the scenes,
yeah,
of being
more of the curtain
wife
than he would like, I think, sometimes.
Mother of the kids of a big time NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's kind of maybe said a little too much at times, and made things awkward for her husband. This time, she did it again when she admitted, well, at least she felt bad about it. She admitted massive guilt for bringing her sick children aboard the L.A. Rams charter flight. Of course, they had to move the game from L.A. to Arizona, so they put everyone on a quick flight. Obviously, it's just an hour or so over from L.A. to Phoenix, but she was on the plane, and she was talking about how, they're all really, really sick on the flight, and there's a huge guilt factor to me going, should we even be on this plane right now, because everyone's surrounding us, and everyone has to play the game. Even by the time the game started, one of the Stafford children still wasn't well, vomiting in the bathroom, which he documented on social media.
Oh, good. Here's little Katie losing her breakfast.
Now, the Rams played great.
They did.
But you just don't want to put a team of 53 guys in a metal tube with a bunch of sick kids like a petri dish, because who knows this week whether or not a possible illness could be floating around the LA Rams facility as they get ready for their second round matchup against the Philadelphia Eagles.
I think it's the documenting of the sick kids is the part that gets me. I mean, there's more pictures of the kid laid out with like a nebulizer,
oxygen mask,
atomizer or whatever on her face, vomiting in the bathroom. So I'm assuming the Staffords live in L.A., and because of the fires and things, Matthew was probably like, I want my family with me when we go to Arizona. No problem. You're also one of the pretty wealthy quarterback. Like, I would feel terrible if I was like, hey, I'm bringing Bo and Taylor in today. They're vomiting and have the flu. Good luck, guys. Good luck.
I mean, he signed a 4-year, $160 million contract.
Yeah.
probably get them out there on their own.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I was going to say you just not go to this game, just stay home and watch it on TV.
But
But if you really wanted to be there,
but I don't know the situation with their home in L.A., the fires, all
That's
that.
true.
So I get that. Like, I get wanting them there.
they could
certainly.
charter their own transportation, possibly.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think if I was Matthew Stafford as the quarterback of the team, I'd be like, hey, we can't have the whole squad getting sick before the playoffs. So I'll get you guys a plane. See you out there at the hotel and keep you away. But how guilty really did you feel if you did it? I know I shouldn't.
I mean, you'll never know.
I'm going to feel terrible.
I mean, even if your guys do get sick, you can never 100% say, "Oh, it was definitely
Stafford's
the
kids."
Stafford's kids that,
I have
that
to
started
imagine
this." But
there had to have been a conversation. Like the thought at least went in the brain before the trip. Like, this sucks. This probably isn't great, but you still did it.
Still did it. Yeah.
How bad do you really?
How
feel?
I mean, it
guilty
is
do you feel?
January. I guarantee there's a few other sick people
It's
on
going
that
around.
plane. It's going around for
No
sure.
doubt. No doubt. I will take us inside the.
You didn't have to reveal it to everybody.
That's
also.
fair.
Yeah.
If you didn't say it, we never would have known.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you posted the pictures as well,
Right.
but if you hadn't done that, nobody would be any the wiser. So that's kind of what she does, though. This is an interesting one, man. And I don't know actually if it's a don't do this or maybe it's a do this. This is insane. I saw a tweet this morning. There is nothing like college basketball. UMass traveled to Fordham last night for an A10 conference game. Game tipped off at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. 3 hours and 45 minutes later, the game ends in triple overtime. 79 fouls were called. 122 free throws were attempted. 9 players from both teams fouled out.
Wow.
120 to 118. UMass wins the game. I can't, for the life of me, imagine a game with 122 free throws. Is that not the worst viewing experience of your entire life?
That's
College.
awful.
I flipped on the other day, so I wanted to watch the Aztecs, and it was that late start. And I put the TV on at about 7:45, knowing the game was supposed to start at 8. And I saw there were 10 minutes left in the game before. And Hannah goes, "Oh, that's good. Only 10 minutes left." I go, "Babe, that 10 minutes is going to take 40 minutes to get through." I can't even imagine 3 overtimes, an almost 4-hour college basketball game with 122 free throws and 79 fouls called. Is that bad? Is that bad refereeing or is that really good refereeing? Shouldn't every game technically be that way if they wanted to call everything?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that you definitely blame the referees, but they probably set a tone like, okay, yeah, we're going to call this one tight. And then they got stuck into it for just an endless game. It's amazing that there was enough players left to finish
No
at
kidding.
the game at the end with 79 fouls. I mean, you'll get 5 per person, and then you're out.
9 players fouled out
total,
which is nuts.
You had to go deep on the benches.
Deep off the bench. Yep.
That's pretty crazy.
Yep.
But not that entertaining to see that many free throws.
Not at all.
All right, finally a little do this.
DD mega doo-doo.
A nice story. The first tennis Grand Slam of the year is underway, the Australian Open, down in Melbourne. And world number 4 tennis player Taylor Fritz, Torrey Pines High School, local product, is playing really well right now. Was a straight sets winner last night. But the do this is what he announced after the game. Said he is going to be donating his entire first-round prize money check, which is about $82,000 U.S., to those affected by the wildfires in Los Angeles for the win. Just to bring some awareness around the world. He's, on the other side of the planet right now playing tennis, but wanted that to be on everybody's mind back in his home state of California. Local guy, and by the way, has really been rising up the charts in international tennis and become a real force. Best U.S. men's player in quite some time, and he's a local product, and he deserves a little love and support, I would say, from San Diego. So good luck to Taylor Fritz the rest of the way in the Australian Open. Got, I think, into the semifinals in 1 or 2 of the Grand Slams last year, maybe even one of the finals. He's getting close to the big breakthrough in his career. Hopefully comes this year for Taylor Fritz.
Well, it's a good time, too, to let everybody here locally know, Ben. The San Diego Food Bank is supporting the Los Angeles Regional Food Bank's ongoing relief efforts by collecting donations of non-perishable food and supplies through Thursday, January 16th. That is today, correct? That'll be delivered at the end of the week. Items can be dropped off at either of the warehouses in Miramar and Vista. The LA Regional Food Bank has requested the following items for donations: water, energy bars, pop-top tuna and chicken, raisins, other dried fruit, trail mix, peanut butter crackers, cheese crackers, 100% juice boxes, individual cereal boxes, diapers, and wipes. For complete details, visit SanDiegoFoodBank.org, LA Wildfires.
And that is Don't and Do This for Thursday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, speaking of college basketball, Woods was just talking about it. We got some tickets to give away right now for Saturday's game at Viejas Arena. Not only are the Aztecs hosting UNLV, which is always a good rivalry game. I mean, everyone likes to beat the Rebels, but it is also Brian Dutcher bobblehead day at Viejas Arena. You can get your tickets at goaztecs.com.
We really need one.
I need one.
I kind of would like one for the studio. Maybe someone can save one for us, but you can win a pair of tickets right now by being the fourth caller at 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Call now. You can win. The Rebels are coming off a big win last night. They had the late game, and they upset number 22 ranked Utah State 65-62 at the Thomas and Mack Center. So they'll be feeling pretty good. They're 4-2, just like the Aztecs in the Mountain West. The winner stays within at least a game of first place. So a pretty big game as the Aztecs trying to build a little momentum after their win over Colorado State 2 nights ago. And they got UNLV coming up this Saturday. So I see people calling in, 833-288-0973, your chance to win. When we come back, though, we're going to talk to David J. A little bit more about the final end game of the Roki Sasaki process. How the Padres and Dodgers apparently are trying to add to their bonus pools, how that would work, what the Padres might have to give up, and whether it can make a difference here in landing Roki Sasaki. It's all coming up next on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. First, though, I want to tell you about SDFatLoss.com. My journey of losing 40 pounds in 60 days. I did it about a year and a half ago, and I have kept the weight off, all of it, and a little extra that entire time. And the difference for me was that SDFatLoss.com presented with me the first ever sustainable weight loss program. I had done fad diets. I had done the bars and shakes. I had never tried the injections, but I heard same thing. If you stop, well, then the hunger's going to come back. The weight's going to come back on. I wanted something different, and I found it with SDFatLoss.com. Made my own food for the most part. Easy stuff, chicken, steak, vegetables, things I like already. And I lost weight, up to a pound of fat per day. You can do it as well, up to 10 to 20% of your body weight in 60 days. Find out how it can work for you. New you in the new year, and if you call before January 31st, you're going to get $200 off with the New Year's special right now. Think about the benefits. More energy, better sleep, less pain. I felt all of these things. You can as well by resetting your metabolism, lowering your metabolic age up to 17 years with SDFatLoss.com. Schedule your free consultation. Do it now. Just go online to SDFatLoss.com. I tend to think that if you're a regular listener to 97.3 The Fan, it's because you're probably pretty deep in the weeds in everything the Padres are doing. I understand there's also some fans are out there. Just tell me when it's over, like where Roki Sasaki is going. Is he coming to our team or not? Just let me know at the end. But I'm not wired that way. Woods, I don't think you're wired that way, no. Paulie. I mean, we like to follow as closely as we can. Look at the signs, try to figure out how this process is working because, well, we want to evaluate whether our executives like A.J. Preller did a good job, did everything they could do, possibly to land Roki Sasaki. Now, they could do everything they can possibly do and still not land him.
Indeed.
That is also one of the risks here. But one of the most recent bits of reporting last night from Mark Feinsand is that both the Dodgers and Padres are trying to acquire, or in talks at least, to acquire extra bonus pool money. And I was still a little unclear as to how that whole concept works. So joining us right now from madfriars.com, they cover tons of minor league and international signings. David J. is with us here on 97.3 The Fan. David, it's good to have you on this morning, even for a very technical conversation.
Good morning, boys. Yeah, there's nothing like math talk to really make morning radio shine, right?
Yeah, 100%. People love math. I actually had coffee yesterday, David, with your newest hire for Mad Friars, Clark Fahrenholt. Great kid. Had coffee with him, and he does a really good job at explaining some of the math parts of baseball. And I said to him, Clark, I love baseball with every fiber in my body, every fiber of my being. But my favorite sport has really gotten quite mathy over the last 20 years or so. And I mean, the international signing stuff is it's interesting to me, and I think you have a pretty good handle on it. So what can the Padres and Dodgers do today? Who are people that you could see potentially being shipped off to clear some more space for Roki Sasaki?
Sure. So as a starting point, every team gets a specific amount of money that they can spend on international free agents each year. And that allocation, it's based on whether a team receives or pays into revenue sharing, whether they get a compensation draft pick in the upcoming draft or not. And it can also be reduced based on penalties for signing a free agent who had a qualifying offer.
Yep.
and all of that. So this year, all of that means that there's a range in what teams can spend that goes from a little over $5.1 million at the bottom end to $7.5 million at the upper end. And at that lower end this year, that includes the Dodgers and the Giants. The Padres are really right in the middle of that range. They've got just over $6.25 million that they can spend on free agents. So that's their starting point. Now, teams can trade to acquire more cap space, and you can trade that in increments of $250,000. So 250, 500, 750, $1 million, as long as it's divisible by 250K. Woodsy, you still with me on the math here?
Barely, but I'm hanging on. Yes, sir. You're doing a great job.
There's a small exception to that if a team's trading the remaining balance of their pool money, but largely you're talking about increments of $250,000. And just to note, they're not actually trading money; they're trading the right to spend that money. So, like if you hear yesterday the Giants acquired $500,000 in a trade with the Red Sox, they didn't actually get the money; they got the right to spend that money.
Got it.
So you've got that going on. And the Padres actually did that last year. They acquired $500,000 of space from the Tigers and another $250,000 from the Astros so that they'd be able to sign righty pitcher Humberto Cruz. Cruz is a guy who's featuring very prominently in our top prospect list that we're running on the Mad Friars website this winter.
Nice plug.
There you go.
Yep.
And just a really interesting righty. But, they had committed most of their money up front to Leo DeVries. They then lost some of their pool space because of the Xander Bogaerts signing the winter before. And so they needed to go out and trade to get additional space. And they traded Blake Dickerson, who's a kid they'd given fifth-round type money in the draft the July before, and Oliver Carrillo, who a slugger who hadn't gotten out of the Dominican League. So those were what they traded to get that space last year. There's one other layer to all of this, which is that teams can only acquire up to 60% of the original amount that they had. So 60% of the Dodgers' $5+ million is just over $3 million. 60% of the Padres is about $3.6 million. So they can get up to, in the case of the Dodgers, $8.2 million. In the case of the Padres, $10 million. And the Blue Jays are right in between those two. So, you're talking about a range all in between a little over $8 and a little under $10 million that those three teams could get up to.
So, David, let me just spitball here for a second. If you are another team that's not in the Roki Sasaki sweepstakes, and you know that the Padres and Dodgers are probably pretty urgently trying to acquire this, are you going to hold them hostage for a higher level of prospect? Or conversely, if you have, $6 million of international money and you're only spending $4 million of it, you might as well trade the rest of it, right? Because, you're going to get something for it. It doesn't do you any good just sitting there if you're not going to sign someone. So do you just go to the next team on the list? How does this play out, would you imagine, in the next, 2 or 3 days as they're scrambling to perhaps acquire more international cap money here?
Yeah. So, there are a handful of clubs that still have 7 figures of pool space left based on the bonuses that they gave out yesterday. And for them, it's really a matter of deciding whether they think they can get more value from trading that space to one of the 3 clubs, or by trying to go out. One of the things we heard last week was that the Padres, the Dodgers, the Blue Jays had reached out to the 16-year-olds who were scheduled to sign with them yesterday. Yesterday's the opening of the international free agency period, which theoretically, according to the rules, is the first time people can talk about contracts, but all of these kids have had deals in place since they were 13 or 14. Major League Baseball really shining through with its ethics and morals there. But the Padres, Blue Jays, Dodgers reached out and told those kids that they had deals in place with that they were free to go out and find offers from other clubs, in the case of the Dodgers, or asking them to wait until all of this sorts itself out. And we saw yesterday a couple of players who were committed to sign with the Dodgers, signed with different organizations. The biggest names in the Padres group are still sitting out there. None of them signed elsewhere. So it's still just sitting there. But the clubs now that have additional pool space have a decision to make. Do they want to trade that to allow one of the teams to get a bigger pool that they can put together for Roki and potentially some of the other players that they had lined up? Or if I'm the GM of Milwaukee and I see that Joan De La Cruz, who was the shortstop who was scheduled to get about $2 million from the Padres, is now sitting out there, do I say, I'd rather go out, rather than trade $1 million for my pool, I'd rather go out and get another $1 million and be able to sign that kid who wasn't otherwise going to be part of our class? And so when you see in that Fine Sand tweet last night, or in the follow-up around it, that there were some teams you'd expect and others you might not, that's what he's talking about, is those teams that are lining up to maybe go out and acquire some of the 16-year-olds who the Padres, the Blue Jays, the Dodgers had locked up before this.
Talking to our pal David J. from Mad Friars here. And so today, tomorrow, I mean, look, I'm seeing all kinds of differing reports. Somebody had said in our chat earlier, I don't know how much credibility to give it, but that the agent, Wolf, had said, around the 20th, which is 4 days away, right? So there should be a flurry of moves, I would imagine. So reading the tea leaves, as Ben likes to say, would you, if you see the Dodgers are clearing a bunch of players and getting a bunch of space, we should be very nervous. If you see the Padres are doing the same thing, we should be very excited, or is it doesn't really lead to a conclusion?
I mean, my guess is that all of that will get, once there's clarity from Sasaki on what's going to happen, my guess is you'll see, actually, just a guess, I have no real deep sense of it, but my guess is what you'll see is somebody will get a leak that Sasaki's made his decision, and then there will be a flurry of moves that are announced.
All right, that makes sense. Yeah, that's why you say on the 20th, hey, we've picked the Padres, but they actually have until the 23rd to then make some moves, get some more money, and then sign him by the 23rd when the posting window closes.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And, just a piece to consider in the case of the Padres, they're obviously, they've got some pressure to reduce their big league payroll. And, you look at some of the names that have been floated as off the big league roster who might be traded, who maybe you're not expecting to get a lot in the way of players back. But, do you find a team that says, hey, we'll take Luis Arias off your hands for $3 million in space and not much else? Is that a way you both get Sasaki and get the space you need to spend on the free agency side?
Right.
But all of that's all hypothetical.
Interesting. Well, so definitely some appreciation in the chat, David, for explaining that for everybody. Even a lot of value in that for me.
Big
So
time.
thank you for giving us a few minutes this morning. And again, you can check out madfriars.com, prospect lists, and thank you, David.
Yeah, absolutely. Good to talk to you guys.
Thanks, brother.
Good stuff there from David J.
Smart dude.
I do feel like, I don't feel any differently than I did before. I'm like 50-50 right now.
Yeah,
I
of
am
course.
really down the middle. The fact that a couple of Dodgers prospects did sign could be an indication that they think the Dodgers are signing Sasaki, so they're jumping ship, whereas the Padres prospects, while they haven't signed with the Padres, they also haven't signed anywhere else. They're like, hey, if we just wait this out a couple of days, the Padres will lose
They'll
out on
lose
Sasaki
Roki.
and we can just sign. You could think that way, but then again, if the Dodgers prospects are getting better offers from another team, no reason why they shouldn't jump ship for a better offer.
Yeah.
So it could mean nothing at all at the same time.
This sucks.
Or they maybe just no one knows because Roki Sasaki hasn't made up his mind.
Yeah.
And no one really knows the answer for this. This is tough.
This is a different. It's
excruciating.
It's a different type of excruciating, right? With a free agent that's out on the market, and you're hearing whispers he may come to your team. This is a different ball game altogether.
It's also the direct competition with the Dodgers.
Yeah, of course, and again, we've made the argument a million times. I could understand why if he signs with LA, not going to be mad at him. I totally get why he would. I also understand why you would sign here as well. So, Got to be for as excruciating as it is for us. Think about what AJ Preller's going through right now. Holy smokes! Just got to be a wreck.
I mean, if it doesn't happen by tomorrow, then we're going to be out there at fantasy camp one way or another, probably on Tuesday, which is the 21st.
Yeah.
Either celebratory or it's going to cast a bit of a pall over the start of fantasy camp next week.
Yeah, it very much could. It very much could. But hopefully it's all good news, man. It's hopefully it's all good news.
There's also some big news that'll be coming out that day as well on that Tuesday, and I will get to that after a quick check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Got a motorcycle accident north on side of the 805 before Plaza Boulevard. Several vehicles involved in this one. It's got middle lanes blocked. And a crash involving a military truck and a semi southbound 5 at the 805 split. That's over the right shoulder. I'm Kelly Danick with Benner Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station. 97.3 The Fan.
No,
we just saw that. That's
It's not about Roki, but
it's some bad news, though. The Milwaukee Brewers just posted 2 minutes ago that we are heartbroken to announce that Brewers icon and Baseball Hall of Famer Bob Uecker passed away today at the age of 90. Oh,
I'm devastated. He's 90 years old. That's a hat tip.
It is.
That's a hat. That's a tip your cap.
But I mean, he's still working. He's still calling games.
come
very,
on.
very active, and you just feel like, it's going to be around forever, right?
I know, dude. One of those guys. If you could pick somebody to be around forever, that would be him.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
That breaks my heart in two. I am so bummed.
Just stole the movie Major League.
Stole it.
Harry Doyle.
Harry Doyle.
Also, obviously, had a bit
One run on, let's see. One hit.
That's all we got.
That's all we got. One damn hit.
I love him so much.
Damn on the air. Don't worry, nobody's listening anyway.
I love him. I love him. Norm Macdonald has told a story about Bob Uecker. I can't repeat it. I mean, go find it. Go find it on your own. Paulie you couldn't edit it enough.
No,
he's unbelievable. Oh, that breaks my heart. The kindest face that you've ever seen. Oh, I never got a chance to meet him.
Didn't travel a lot.
No, I did. I got to interview him.
You did?
I did, yes.
I didn't meet him, but I saw him one time in the press box. I was too nervous. I was way too intimidated, and he looked, from all accounts, the nicest, sweetest guy. I had less than zero interest to go introduce myself, just say hello.
Yeah, because there's also the possibility he goes,
Bob
hey, kid,
Uecker.
beat it.
Yeah, exactly.
Something just kill you.
Oh, man.
My heart is broken, dude. Oh. For a man I never knew, but I loved and love.
Growing up, if you, our age, watching sporting events, and in our chat, R.I.P. Mr. Front Row, the great, was it Miller Lite commercials?
I must be in the front row.
I must be in the front row. And then he'd be sitting up in the nosebleed somewhere. The classic Rodney Dangerfield, I get no respect kind of guy. Had an acting career as well, including several seasons in the sitcom Mr. Belvedere. He was the dad on the program alongside Christopher Hewitt.
Do you think
Mr.
he
Belvedere.
ever, in his wildest dreams, after he's a big league catcher and not a great one, but he had a long career. Do you think ever in his wildest dreams he's like, I'm going to be on a sitcom, a successful sitcom for many, many years?
But I mean, the major league, and as the story goes, he improv'd most of that as he was going along. Just such incredible lines. I love when
he's a convicted felon in the offseason.
It doesn't really say that here. Well, he should be.
He should be.
This guy threw at his kid in his
father-son game. Man, this just ruined my day, man. It ruined my day.
I know what movie I'm watching.
100%. It's so good. He's such a legend. Oh,
what do we do?
Paulie, if you would.
Leave us.
And I really hope we can see more unity and more peace when already things are so difficult. So, shout out to his family.
That sucks.
Yeah, I interviewed him when we did the Padres pre- and post-game show, and he visited with the Milwaukee Brewers. Very intimidating. Didn't really make me feel at ease, actually. I mean, he's a fairly famous guy at that point, and we're bugging him before the game. But once the microphone was on, he was gregarious and charming, as you would expect him to be.
What do you mean? Like he was kind of? Did you do it in person?
I guess.
Was he surly?
No, he wasn't surly, but you see a guy's on-air persona.
Yeah.
And it's always jarring to know they're also a real person. So
Correct.
when he's going and having, dinner in the press box and he's just eating, he's not just throwing
Doing
off
bits.
one
Yeah.
liners
Hello,
all
my
the
baby.
time.
Hello, my
He's just
darling.
going through his notes and
He's
he goes,
eating his
what?
chicken.
No, I could probably do something in like 20 minutes. Get together. It's like it's just so normal sounding, and you don't ever expect Bob Uecker to be like a normal person because he's just so on every time you hear him.
He's a star,
and he's such a star.
90 years old. He was about to turn. He would have turned 91 in 10 days.
Oh man.
It says here he was like still currently a broadcaster.
Yeah, he worked last
He
year.
was in the freaking.
Was he doing like only the home like select series?
Yeah, I
type
think he was
thing?
on a limited basis,
but he was still
he did a
working.
lot of the Brewers games last year.
He was down in the clubhouse with the celebration,
Yeah, that's
man.
right.
Like what a legend, and not just a Milwaukee Brewers legend, just a baseball legend, a face of baseball.
It says here on his Wikipedia page, the Ford C. Frick Award for the best baseball broadcaster or whatever. I'm like, that could easily be named the Bob Uecker Award.
No question.
Yeah,
I
and
love
that's how he got into the Hall of Fame. But I think his contributions go far beyond just broadcasting for the Brewers. I mean, he was an ambassador for baseball, a comedic ambassador for baseball throughout his entire career. So, it kind of brings me back to what I was going to talk about, which was the Hall of Fame. The announcement will be on Tuesday when we're out there next week. Who is getting in 2025?
I'm not happy with how things are going right now in the Hall of Fame tracking.
Yeah, I've seen some of the ballots and stuff.
Everyone's put Ichiro on their ballot.
Yes.
Which they should.
Yeah, there's this guy, that Mr. Tibbs guy that
He's great.
he puts together this like insane Google Doc, and he obviously knows he's got sources because he's getting a ton of ballots that come in. Some people, they won't send him their ballots. They won't go public with it because they're cowards and probably don't think Ichiro's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Which is insane.
But he does get the majority of the ballots. You can pretty much take whatever his spreadsheet says at face value. We can get into some of the numbers, but it is interesting.
Yeah, the numbers usually go down though. Once the guys who don't vote for a lot of people are the ones that don't send it in.
Like I
so
said, there's a
it
reason
usually
they don't
goes
want.
down. So guys who are like Carlos Beltran is currently at 80, Billy Wagner at 84. That's nervous range because you need 75% to get
Billy
in.
Wagner's last year.
Andrew Jones at 74. That's not trending to be enough. And Paulie, one of your Mariners stars, Felix Hernandez, only 26% in his first year on the ballot.
I really don't get it. I really don't get it.
Kinda
Somebody needs
surprising.
to explain that one to me because I just don't understand it.
All right, we got Mike Petriello and Take on Wood, or Real or Fake action on a Throwback Thursday coming up in our 8 o'clock hour. We'll be right back with more Ben and Woods next here on 97.3 The Fan.
Yeah, we are halfway home on a Thursday. Ben and Woods, 97.3. The Fan had that awful breaking news. Bob Uecker passing away at the age of 90. Just much beloved. I'm so bummed to lose him, but I'm really excited for the stories that will follow from a guy like him.
yeah.
You know, everybody will have something to say that met him and knew him.
Quick public service announcement, since the man has passed away, and we want to be very respectful. It's UECKER.
UECKER.
Yeah, the misspellings are outnumbering the correct
Did I
spellings
boot
in our
it?
chat. No, you got
No,
it. You
thank
got it.
God.
Okay,
I didn't spell it.
I've seen UEKER. I've seen UCKER. This is a tough one, and I just want everyone to know it's UECKER.
Okay.
Uecker.
They
No
have-
one ever spells your name wrong.
Nope, it's easy.
Woods.
Yeah, Woods. Very simple.
Mine's pretty easy.
Yep.
Sometimes they put an E in it somewhere where it doesn't belong, but that's about it.
Higgins.
Higgins.
Yeah, that's true.
Mine's not
Higgins.
easy.
Yeah, yours is not.
Yours is tough. You got that lack of a vowel at the end. A DL is not a common.
It's hard to pronounce.
Paul
hard to spell.
Reindl?
No. Reindl.
I am Woodsy. That is Paul Reindl.
Woods. WOULDS.
You know, our friend Hillary that works at 91X, her daughter, when she was little, made me a card, and she spelled it Woods, WUDS. And so that's how we say it. Like, that's when I write her, or when she texts me, it's always WUDS. It's the sweetest thing. Yeah, Woods. It's so good. The universe is a weird, weird place. It's weird how connected it all is, and I'll tell you why. Yesterday at this time, I think it was around this time, we started talking about the movie Rudy, okay? And I went on to lambaste the movie. It's a colossal pile of dung. It still makes me cry. I still like the message, but the movie in and of itself it's bad.
I checked. You got 78% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
Certainly not an all-time classic, but also not a flaming pile of garbage.
Yeah, it's not Stone Cold with Brian Bosworth, all right, which I also love, by the way. I love that movie. Lance Henriksen, it's brilliant. But it's a piece of crap, right? So I'm talking about it. We did 20 minutes on Rudy yesterday, and I'm a Notre Dame honk, man. I love the Irish, and I loved seeing all the scenes of Notre Dame, and I get it. I get the gist of it. So we're ripping this movie. Ripping it. Get off the air, running some errands. Check in with our pal Jack Taylor, who is up in L.A. And he says to me, he goes, you remember, Woodsy, a few weeks ago, I told you, hey, I'm going to be down in San Diego. I need to drop off your Christmas present. I said, yeah, I'll be around. I'm back from fantasy camp on the 24th, so I'll be around. Great, I'll be in that weekend. He goes, I'm a little nervous, and I'm a little bummed. And I go, well, why? And he said, imagine my surprise when I tuned in this morning to your show and heard you guys ripping the movie Rudy. And I said, you didn't. He goes, I did. And I said, you're joking. You did not. He said, no, I did. He bought me, had bought me weeks ago a huge signed photo of Rudy Rudiger. Can you believe it? I go, Jack, you're kidding me.
Oh, my God.
And he goes, no, I'm not, dude. He goes, I bought it weeks ago. Remember when I told you I had a present for you? I said, yeah. He goes, I got it. It's here.
He's so excited about it, too, I bet.
He was probably elated. And then he tunes in to hear me just crushing the movie and what a turd it is. And he's like, I just spent money to get this dude a signed Rudy picture, which I told him that makes it even better.
Oh my
it
God.
makes it even better. And I will 100% display it in my home. I could not believe it.
It happens to everybody at some point. How do you guys handle it? You've bought a present for someone, and then before you give it to them, you either find out they already have one, or you realize, oh, this is not something they're actually going to like. You find out, oh no, this would be a bad idea. Do you still give it to them anyway? Do you just say, hey, I bought the wrong thing? Do you have to go scrambling?
You got to
try
scramble.
Find something else?
It's
do you not let them know? It's just like what you did?
No, it's
Jack
scramble.
obviously told you. He admitted.
He admitted
Straight up. This is what I got you.
As soon as he said, well, imagine my surprise when I turned on the radio today to hear you, and I go, and that's exactly what I said, no, you didn't. You didn't. He goes, no, I did. I actually did, and it was so surreal to hear you guys doing that. Now, it's happened before on the radio where, listen, we're in here, we're just having conversations. Sometimes you say something and you realize I was maybe a little harsh, or I said something about somewhere that somebody loves. Like, here's a perfect example. So we were talking earlier in the show today about buying like Payless shoes and things like that, right? When we were kids, and how it scarred us. And I mentioned a brand called British Knights. And I remember them being like kind of turdish when I was a kid. Like, look at this guy in his British Knights. Well, not 10 minutes later, I get a tweet from a guy that says, he goes, British Knights actually out here in California were really very popular shoe on the West Coast. They were not cheap shoes. And I go, really? I said, because where I lived in Texas, everybody hated them and made fun of them. He goes, it's crazy. I just bought a pair of black and white ones, and every time I wear them, someone stops me and says how much they loved them as a kid. And I go, I feel like a jerk now. I said, oh, well, retro is always cool. Anything you bring back from the 80s is cool again, right? But
probably cooler now than it was then.
Yeah, 100%.
So he got you, what was it? It was a photo?
Yeah, like a signed poster, I think.
Wow.
So there's also the phenomenon where
Those are James Vanderbeek jerseys.
Yeah. Interesting that you bring that up.
Yeah, that's right. That was one part of our extravaganza gifts.
I bought both of you guys for Christmas a signed James Vanderbeek jersey because he is ill and he was selling jerseys, and we talked about it on the show. Yeah, for to help fund things. So I said, oh, this will be a good bit. The guys will get a kick out of it, and I'm helping someone. So I did it a month before Christmas. It's January 16th. I haven't heard hide or hair from James Vanderbeek or his people. So this morning, when I woke up at 2 a.m. this morning.
I swear to God, we did not talk
about this. Paulie just brought it up. This morning, I went to his website and fired off a Karen-like email. And I said, hey, just checking in on where my jersey is that I ordered in mid-November for Christmas that I couldn't give my boys. I appreciate what he may be going through, but you can't say you're going to sell jerseys, people pay for the jerseys, and you don't send the jerseys. That's fraud.
Or are you the bad guy because he's dealing with like cancer and you're giving him a hard time about slow shipping?
It's not even. Here's the thing. If you had sent me an email or any sort of notice that said it will be arriving in 6 to 8 weeks, nothing. It could be a scam for all I know. I have no idea if this guy's actually sending out these jerseys because I didn't.
Did you do any verification whatsoever that this was actually James Vanderbeek's website or anything?
I went to the website Paulie provided in the Reindl Report. I bought him that day whenever he did that story, and I bought you one and Paul one. And, they weren't cheap, and I sent it off, but it was a funny bit, and you get to help someone. And it was so funny you bring that up, Paulie. I sent it this morning.
That's hilarious. I'm looking on their website right now. The frequently asked questions, shipping and delivery time. It says, please be patient as your item will need to be produced and then signed before we can ship it.
Oh, they didn't do a bunch of these in advance. Like you order it, then all of a sudden it goes to the factory in China. They stitch it together. They mail it to James.
Then he signs
it. He has to sign it. Then he has to mail it to you.
We're looking at about 6 to 8 weeks ago. 6 years. What's going to happen is my wife's going to go to the porch and pull up a package and be like, why do I have 2 signed jerseys? I said, it's for a bit.
Here's one that always gets me. When someone clearly is trying to be thoughtful, but they don't know anything about what they're buying. Like, Woods, I heard you were a big baseball fan.
Yeah.
So I bought you this Max Muncy signed baseball card. I heard he's a good player. Yeah. And then they give it to you, and it's like...
Oh, wipe my ass with it. Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
I do understand that your heart was probably in the right place, but you actually couldn't have gotten me a worse gift if you had tried.
But you like baseball.
You like baseball. I've heard he was a good baseball player.
It's a very grandparent thing to do. But you like football. I got you a Seahawks jersey. What? I don't like the Seahawks. I thought you liked football. Do you not? It's like, all right. My Aunt Kathy, notorious for this, by the way. She's awesome. But she's a Tigers fan. And so she sends my kids Tigers merch. And I'm like, hey, they're Padres fans. And she's like, nah, I need them to be Tigers fans as well. So you know what she got Bo? A 1984 Padres Tigers World Series hat.
All right.
And it
That's
is
cool.
dope. And he wears it all the time. And I said, you know what? You've just found a gift loophole.
And the Magnum PI classic Tigers hat is pretty cool. So
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
it's not the worst thing, I guess.
It's not. So she's, she tries that, but I know exactly what you're saying. So, Paulie, I did check on your jersey. I can't wait to get it.
I'm good. Ben was like very upset.
Ben was very, very worried
Stop.
about it.
You know what? Yesterday he said, "Where the f
Where is
my
that
I was
jersey?
at work the other day. There was no sports on. I saw Varsity Blues was on, so I popped it on the television, knowing that I had a James Vanderbeek jersey
On the way.
Allegedly. Quickly, Woods, we need a contestant for Real or Fake on a Throwback Thursday. Chance to qualify for our grand prize trip to Las Vegas in our next segment. If you want to call in and wait on hold, 833-288-0973. We'll get to our game in just a couple of minutes.
Yeah, and listen, my friends, it's Woodsy. I want to take good care of you here. If you're a homeowner right now, don't go through another year with all the high interest debt you've accrued. Let Loan Pronto wipe it all out. Now their rapid equity loan makes it really easy to pay off all your credit card bills. Tackle that 2025 home improvement project. Get cash in your pocket fast. No appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Their AI-driven technology gets you approved and funded in as little as one day. Low fixed rates, lightning fast transfers. You can do it too. Consolidate your debt, improve your home, take control of your finances this year. Imagine being credit card debt free by this time next week. So call Loan Pronto at 619-207-4336 or go to loanpronto.com. Get your free rate quote now. No hard credit pull when you call 619-207-4336 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
Well, we've been obsessed with Roki Sasaki for the last few weeks. Doesn't seem like anybody's talking about Jurickson Profar. What's going on with Pro? We've seen him in some Instagram posts with Fernando Tatis Jr. Working out down in the Dominican. But is any team actually talking to him, signing him, or the Padres going to bring him back? Someone finally wrote about it. Mike Petriello from MLB.com is going to join us coming up in our next segment here at the bottom of the hour and just see what the actual kind of value is sitting there and why teams may be, a little gun shy on a Jurickson Profar deal, and maybe why they shouldn't be. Why they should be basically all in for Jurickson Profar this coming season. We'll get to that coming up. Right now, though, it is time for our weekly game on a Throwback Thursday of Real or Fake.
Some are here for the compelling sports talk with Ben and Woods. If you can go plow through another donut. It's time for Real or Fake on 97.3 The Fan. Tell the people what they'll win today.
We're playing to try to qualify for our grand prize monthly drawing. Trip for two to Las Vegas. And 2 tickets to see the Scorpions at Planet Hollywood. 60 years of the Scorpions. Their new residency show live February 27th to March 11th at PH Live at Planet Hollywood Resort and Casino. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Not only that, you get 2 nights at Planet Hollywood and a $100 gas card as well. And we got Joseph on the line today as our contestant. Hello, Joseph.
Morning.
Morning. All right. Just right to it. Let's get to business here.
Yeah, he's all business.
Woodsy can help you out here. You need 4 out of the 7 right, separating the real from fake. I was really trying to find something funnier today. I failed, so I decided let's be educational instead.
Oh, okay.
We got a Major League Soccer team. We're it's upon us. We're going to have a new team here in just about a month. And I feel like we don't know that much yet about Major League Soccer. At least
true.
We should know more. So I'm keeping it simple. Today on Real or Fake, we're going to be focusing on Major League Soccer venues. I'll give you the name of a stadium. You just have to tell me if it's a real home venue for a Major League Soccer team or one that I have conjured up, a complete fake stadium. So, real or fake soccer stadiums. Joseph, are you ready to play?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's go. Round 1.
Very sportsy.
A little sportsy, a little stadium-y, a little
So
sponsory,
sportsy.
really. PayPal Park. PayPal Park. Joseph, is that real or fake?
I'm going to go with real.
Real.
Oh,
yeah,
very
it's the
nice.
home of the San Jose Earthquakes. Woods, PayPal Park. All right, let's go round number 2. Energizer Park. Energizer Park. Real or fake?
Real.
That is also real.
Wow, I was going to
Joseph
say
is.
fake.
That is home of St. Louis City SC. 2 for 2. All right, you are rolling here, Joseph. You need no help. You're solid. Round number 3. Subaru Park. Real or fake? Subaru Park.
You're pretty reputable name, so I'm going to go with real.
He's going with real again. He's correct again.
Good
My
God.
goodness gracious. All right, well, this is going to be a clean sweep. For the win, round number 4. Sports Illustrated Stadium. Real or fake, Joseph?
Fake.
Fake.
It's real.
Come on.
It's the home of the New York Red Bulls. I have no idea how this
The
happened.
New York what?
Red Bulls.
Oh, I think you said rentals.
No, the Red Bulls. They used to play in Red Bull Stadium, but now it's
Wow.
called Sports Illustrated Stadium. I don't know. We may need to talk to our friend Ryan Phillips about how they ended up with a stadium.
I think we're mostly AI now. What is happening? They have a
too.
stadium?
It's
At least
Sports
it's not
Illustrated
a 5-hour
Stadium.
energy stadium for the
The Red
New York
Bulls.
Red Bulls.
All right, let's go to round number 5. John Deere Field. Real or fake, Joseph?
John Deere. I'm going to go fake.
Fake.
That is fake,
All
and that
right.
is enough for the win. Just like that, Joseph has qualified for the grand prize drawing. American Dairy Council Field, Woods.
Real.
That's fake. Taco Bell Park.
Fake.
That is fake. There actually used to be a Taco Bell Arena in the Mountain West. That's where Boise State used to play. They changed it to now Extra Mile Arena, but they used to actually play in Taco Bell Arena, which, I don't know, sounds kind of actually cool.
Why don't we just take a
And
nap
then-
next time for real or fake? Let's do nap time.
It
Just do a 10-minute nap
It was
segment.
slightly educational.
Jesus.
It was
There's
most,
so many ways you could go.
I was-
Adult toys, adult movies, like anything.
You want to try coming up with a game every single day of the year?
Not really.
I didn't think so. Pipe down over there. They're not all
Hey, coming
going,
up next, we're going to sleep on the air.
They're not all going to be grand slams. I'll be honest. I saw Sports Illustrated Stadium and I go, that sounds fake. And I thought, well, okay, well, there's one that I can throw in there. The rest of them, though, were kind of normal. And Snapdragon Stadium, where
real.
it's real.
It's real.
Who is in the NBA? Is it the Pelicans? They play at Smoothie King Arena.
Smoothie King
Smoothie
Center.
King.
The Smoothie King Center,
Smoothie
yeah.
King Center. That's a weird one.
It used to be stadiums just felt like, they just had really normal names.
Yes.
And all of a sudden now I think there's been a bit of there's more stadiums and there's more sponsors than ever. So you start getting.
What is Soldier Field? Is that a sponsorship or is that just a badass name?
It's not even
It's
Soldier
not a-
Field anymore.
I
is
think
it?
it's still Soldier
Is it?
Field.
Isn't there
yeah.
something in front of it?
That's a good question. I assumed it was like.
'Cause that's a badass
Because it was built
name.
like 100 years ago. And I assumed it was there just to honor the soldiers. But I actually don't really know why it was specifically named Soldier Field.
Me neither.
I remember here, there was the sports arena, and then, there was Jack Murphy Stadium, and then they got a sponsor finally, Qualcomm Stadium. But then the sports arena started going through all kinds of different sponsorships. The craziest one was when they called it the iPay1 Center for a while. That was weird. And then it was Valley View, and now it's Pechanga. And it's hard to sometimes keep track of all the
Yeah,
name
it is.
changes.
It is.
Viejas Arena used to be Cox Arena when it was first built.
Okay.
But
It's a crypto.com arena.
Yeah,
A
crypto.com.
couple weeks ago. That's weird.
That is weird.
No, it's actually no weirder than Staples Center was, but we were used to Staples Center, and it sounded kind of normal.
It feels like all of the iconic moments and everything, it all happened at the Staples Center. It's the same building, I know.
It was just named after an office supply company. There was nothing historic or notable about the name.
Just named after a pet store.
Exactly. Can you imagine? Can you imagine how weird that would be if they changed the name of Petco Park?
It would be so weird.
It's kind of more of a when than
an
if.
Mostly. Most likely. I wonder how many years the deal runs for Petco Park and the sponsor. I think it's been renewed once, I think, already. So
Dodger Stadium not going to change. Yankee Stadium not going to change. But all the branded, sponsorship stadiums, they all change at some point.
But there's no reason that we should be so married to the idea it has to be named Petco Park. It was simply a sponsorship deal at the beginning with Petco, but now we feel like it's a cultural, iconic part of San Diego.
Yeah, it's Petco,
and it would feel weird to call it anything other than Petco Park.
I mean, I imagine I wasn't here when it went from Jack Murphy to Qualcomm.
I bet it was really
that would have been weird.
In 2021, Petco signed a new deal through at least 2027. So we've only got 3 more years, definitely, of Petco Park naming rights.
Going from Qualcomm to SDCCU Stadium didn't feel right. It also was like you knew this was getting torn down in a year or two, so that was weird.
But there's no reason why we should have felt that married to Qualcomm. It was simply a technology, phone producing company. But we get attached to these names, and then we don't like them when they change.
Yeah, I won't like it if Petco changes.
You won't.
Everybody will still call it Petco.
They'll still call it Petco.
For years.
I know. It's kind of the beauty of sponsoring a play.
You want to be the first one to sponsor something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, we will have Mike Petriello, MLB.com, wrote a piece about Jerks and Profar. You'd think is still very much on the radar of the San Diego Padres, but have not really heard a lot of rumors right now. So we'll find out about that coming up. First, want to tell you about the lawyers, the attorneys at the Barnes firm. They are a dedicated team of experts that want to help you. You'd love to think that you're never going to need an attorney, but you get in an accident, it isn't your fault. The insurance company is not treating you well. You need someone who is going to fight for you, for your rights and your remuneration, I believe is how, remuneration, to get your money, basically. That's the Barnes firm. They've been doing this for a long time. They stay up to date with all the latest developments and new issues like autonomous driving cars, self-driving cars. What happens when one of those gets into an accident? They have studied all these issues about the software and the programmers and everything that can go on with very complex cases. They can handle it if it goes to trial. They're experienced trial attorneys as well. Settle your case either way. They're going to get you the best deal possible, and they're not going to charge you a cent if you don't win. They're also not going to charge you for the free consultation. So if you're in an accident, if you're in a workplace injury, if you need an attorney, just remember the number 1-800-8-MILLION or go online to thebarnesfirm.com. You don't have anything to lose. You could have quite a bit to gain. Don't face it alone. Call the Barnes firm at 1-800-8-MILLION. Could be the best phone call you ever make. Now, to be totally frank, you are not going to find bigger Jurickson Profar fans than the three of us. We love Jurickson.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely love him. Want to see him return to the San Diego Padres. I think we also acknowledge that it's a complicated issue. Maybe more so than your usual free agency. There's just layers to this. There's the fact that he is so instrumental and such a great clubhouse presence for the Padres, but there's also the fact that he hasn't performed well at any other places really he's gone recently other than San Diego.
Yeah.
So, I mean, why would he want to leave? Well,
I
he
know.
doesn't, but
he deserves a
That
raise.
doesn't mean
Like-
the Padres can just name their price and he has to come back either.
Right.
And then there's, of course, the issue that Mike Petriello of MLB.com addressed, and that is, how much can you trust that last season's Jurickson is going to be anything like what Jurickson looks like going forward? And we got Mike on the line right now. Mike, it's great to have you. We're all reeling from the news of the passing of Bob Uecker this morning, of course, but we do appreciate your time.
Yeah, hey, it's great to be here with you guys. And yeah, I heard about the Uecker news kind of right before it came out, and I knew this was going to be a tough day for everybody, especially our friends in Wisconsin, a true baseball legend.
Yeah.
No question. And Mike, obviously for us too here in San Diego, it's nice to take a break from Roki Sasaki talk and Roki Sasaki watch to focus on a guy that we all, for $1 million last year, I mean, you want to talk about a value. You want to talk about exceeding your value. Jurickson Profar was nothing short of a revelation for the San Diego Padres. Ben, my co-host, mentioned the clubhouse presence, the relationship that he has. He's the irritant that we needed here in San Diego. We needed somebody to get under other people's skin, and he did that, and he performed on the field as well. But it begs the question, as you presented in your article, what do you do with Jurickson Profar? How do you pay him?
Yeah, it's funny. Nobody in your listening audience wants to hear this, but I did grow up a Dodger fan. So when you say irritant, the first thing I think of is Will Smith calling him irrelevant and making the home run catch that fooled Mookie Betts, and all of these cool things. And from a distance, I found that all very entertaining. So really, what do? Is I try to look at the underlying numbers and say how much of this is real and how much of this is fake, right? Like, you just look at the surface stats. Here's a guy who obviously was a top prospect, but many, many years ago, and had a mostly unimpressive up and down career. And if you were to tell me at 31, this guy started for the NL in the All-Star game, is it real? I'd say, no, there's no way it's real. It was all good luck. But everything that I looked into under the hood says it kind of is real. Like, I made a lot of comparisons to Cody Bellinger when I wrote about him. Last year, I didn't really buy into Cody Bellinger's 2023. Everything under the hood said he didn't hit the ball that hard. It's kind of fluky. It's basically what happened. He was just okay this year. Whereas with Profar, I was stunned how real it feels. He started crushing the ball, right? His hard hit rate, the percentile went from 12th percentile 2 years ago, which is terrible, to 71st.
Wow.
That's not a fluke. You cannot fake that. It's hard to understand why, how. That's a whole separate conversation. But the simple fact of the matter is he hit the ball harder. He did it pretty much every month of the year, aside from August when he had a little slump. And he did it from both sides of the plate. It wasn't just a lefty thing. It wasn't just a righty thing. And as much as I hate to admit it, I think it's real. It's bizarre.
We talked to Jurickson a couple of times about this, and the answer that he tended to give was he didn't tinker last year. He just stayed confident in what he was doing and didn't make a lot of adjustments over the course of the season, and he felt that was the difference. Now, my question to you is, and I don't know how much research you've been able to do, how many guys out there have had a breakout season after 10 years in the big leagues and then been a different player going forward? I mean, can you come up with any kind of examples of someone like that who then had a stretch of 5 or 6 really good all-star type seasons that late in their career?
I can't off the top of my head, and I think part of it is, most guys don't debut at 19 years old like he did, right? If you do come up that young, Acuna, Juan Soto, you're generally going to be a star going forward, and he wasn't. Because sure, there's examples of guys who scuffled for maybe a number of years and then figured it out late-ish. Jose Bautista, Justin Turner, JD Martinez, guys like that. But none of them waited this long to do it. I think we had run an article last year that said, not in terms of age, but in terms of seasons played, he was like the third or fourth oldest first-time All-Star ever, setting aside the very first crew. And that's the sort of thing that makes me feel like, that's a fluke. How can that be? But again, like, you go to all the underlying metrics and it's real. So your question about, can I name somebody else like this? No, that's an outlier. That's maybe not a good selling point.
Yeah, no question. Talking to Mike Petriello here on Ben and Woods about Jurickson Profar. Listen, early on in the free agent process, I'd heard some whispers of maybe the Yankees being interested. Then I heard the Braves connected to him, the Orioles perhaps. Obviously the Padres will, I'm assuming, have a strong interest in bringing him back. But then it went really quiet, and it's been really quiet for a while. Why do you think that is? Do you think everybody's doing what exactly we're doing and trying to get under the hood to see, A, what's he worth, and B, should we pay him, give him a 3 to 4 year deal, which I'm sure he wants and deserves?
Not necessarily. Like, I happen to write this article now because this is when I thought of it, right? But any team that's going to do their free agency homework looked into this months ago. They went into the offseason knowing whether they thought he was going to be real or not. So I don't think it's that's holding things up. My guess is that there's maybe two things going on here. Maybe the first thing is that some teams would maybe look at Anthony Santander as a higher priority outfield target, and he's still unsigned. He's obviously got a better track record, got more power. I don't think either one of them are terribly good defensive outfielders. So there might be some teams that are just prioritizing Santander, and they don't want to move far until he's signed. Pure speculation on my part, right? I think the other thing that you might think about, and again, I'm purely speculating, is since he's bounced around so much, since he's only really had success in San Diego, and since they desperately need a left fielder, I could certainly see a scenario where it's like, we want you back. We know you want it to come back. We got to sort out Sasaki first.
Yeah.
We got to see if we have to trade Dylan Cease. We have some other things that have to fall into place first. And it's like, you can't tell a player to hang out for the entire offseason and wait, and then nothing happens in March. Like, that's not fair either. You will lose him at some point. And I want to be clear, I'm not heard anything. I'm just like sitting here from the East Coast. I could see that because he talked about how much he loved San Diego, how he wanted to be there. But he also said, paraphrasing the quote here, but they have to want me. And I think it's totally fair. He has earned the right to go out and get a pretty nice multi-year, 3 to 4-ish year contract. And I think he'll get it from somebody, if not the Padres.
Well, I have no doubt that the Padres want him. They definitely want him, and they need him as well. That's the other thing with both the Sasaki and kind of Jurickson Profar questions unanswered, Mike. It's hard to find a team that could use both Roki Sasaki and Jurickson Profar more than the San Diego Padres. I mean, those would be two perfect solutions for two of their biggest needs this offseason. Wouldn't you agree?
I think that's 100% correct. I think the lineup right now is weaker than it was last year, right? Because Profar was one of their best bats. Obviously, they had Cam for much of the year until now. If you look at the FanGraphs projections, and you can sort teams 1 to 30 by each position. When I looked the other day, their left field was ranked 30th. There are 30 teams. You can imagine what kind of ranking that is. It's not what you want, right? So whether it's Profar or somebody else, like, they absolutely need at least one bat, maybe two, and I feel like they're still short in the rotation, to say nothing of what happens if they do trade Dylan Cease. So you're right. If you get Sasaki, you bring back Profar, those two things can come on, depending on how you look at it, reasonable cost outlets. Obviously, Sasaki is not going to get paid his full value because he's not a traditional free agent, right, like Yamamoto was last year. And Profar is going to cost you a multi-year deal, but I don't think anyone expects he's out there looking for $500.
Mike, we're losing you a little bit on the phone. It's just it's breaking up, but we got the gist of what you were saying. We do really appreciate you spending a few minutes with us this morning. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, great piece.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, Mike.
Excellent stuff from Mike Petriello from MLB.com.
Potato phone.
Just needed a better phone, and don't admit you grew up as a Dodger fan when you come on the Padres flagship. Other than that, he was fantastic. He was great. He was really good and answered some of the questions, about Jurickson Profar. I think the Santander, kind of nugget, like,
makes sense.
Why we don't even know. I mean, what if Anthony Santander is about the same price? You go, I'd probably rather have him. So you're going to wait and see if you can woo Santander before pivoting to a Jurickson Profar. That makes a lot of sense to me.
I wonder, do you think that's a fair statement? If you could have Santander, they wouldn't be the same price, I don't think, right? Santander
would be more expensive,
he's gonna be
I would
more
think.
expensive.
But how much more expensive is a real factor here?
Switch hitter in Profar is Santander's just a lefty, right?
I think the only team that might rather have Jurickson Profar is the Padres. Yeah. The vibes and the leadership that is already built in. I think everybody else is going to look at the power numbers and 44 home runs and go, Yeah, give me Santander.
Yeah, I don't think you're affording it. You can't afford him, though. I don't think.
Not the Padres, but another team that's going,
He
hey.
had 44 bombs last
44.
year? Christ,
But he only
amazing.
hit 235.
Yeah.
I mean, drove in 102 runs.
I'll take the 44 bombs. So yeah, I'll take the 44 bombs. But yeah, that's a different player entirely.
You know how major league teams think though, and they see that 44 home run and they go, that's a huge difference maker. I personally, if I could have one or the other for the same price, I think it would be close. There's a real argument to be made after talking to Mike and saying, hey, none of those numbers that Jurickson put up were fake. They were all backed up by his hard hit rate, contact, everything, his BABIP. Nothing was out of line. He didn't have a lucky season. He had a great season. And there's no real reason to think if he stays healthy, he shouldn't be able to do that again and duplicate what he was doing, but you just don't know for sure.
Yeah, Santander, also a switch hitter. 44 home runs. It's pretty dirty.
Got a Dylan.
How do none of us remember that?
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah.
Gee, what's the quietest 44 home run season
kidding.
in history, maybe.
Got a little bit of a Dylan Cease nugget for you this morning from some reporting from ESPN.com and Jeff Passan. Get to that after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Just a few things to mention here, guys. 2-vehicle accident northbound 5 Coastline before Santa Fe Drive. It's in the center divide. Also traveling on westbound 78 past College. We have reports of what looks like a shovel in the slow lane. You don't need that going through your windshield. Also traveling on southbound 15 just before the 56. Reports of some sort of debris in the 2 right lanes. Still clearing an accident from the Pershing on-ramp to northbound 5. And an encampment fire westbound King Freeway, Home Avenue. That's over the right shoulder. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, new insider piece at ESPN.com featuring a multitude of voices, including Jeff Passan, Jesse Rogers, Alton Gonzalez, Buster Olney, and one of the blurbs was, should we expect any more big trades this offseason? Here was what Passan had to say that included some Dylan Cease tidbits. The answer is yes, but more because it's just an executive's nature to want a deal. There are no obvious gotta-happen trades. Unless a can't-miss opportunity presents itself, San Diego will hold on to Dylan Cease. So basically,
good.
Basically, what Passan is hearing then is if someone doesn't knock AJ Preller's socks off with an offer, that's probably going to look like a real win for the Padres, then you would expect Dylan Cease to show up to spring trading with the San Diego Padres and be part of the rotation this season.
Fine by me.
I know it is.
180 innings.
And it's fine by me as well, even though I know that there's a really good chance that if you hold on to Dylan Cease,
you ain't getting it back.
That he's going to become a free agent at the end of the year, and you're going to lose him for nothing more than a compensatory draft pick.
Sure.
I can live with that, though.
I think I can, too.
The alternative is you trade him at the deadline, but that only makes sense if you're flailing. You don't trade a top-line starting pitcher in July if you're 3 games up in the wild card race or, a game back in the division. If you have a really bad season, there's a lot of things that become on the table that were not on the table to start the year. But you can't go into your plan is not to trade Dylan Cease at the deadline. Your plan is to compete with Dylan Cease in your rotation and go to the playoffs with Dylan Cease, not to trade Dylan Cease during the season.
We're not the Pirates. You know what I mean? Yeah. You don't go into opening day going, this guy will be gone in July. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not what you want.
No, you're expecting to add.
Yeah, make a run.
At the trade deadline, as A.J. Preller has done most seasons recently.
Correct.
Unless the Padres have a disastrously bad year. And I understand some of the pessimism, but there's nothing that would indicate the Padres should have a disastrously bad season. Even if they take a step back from 93 wins, that does not equal disastrously bad.
No,
there's just too much talent.
Still make the playoffs. Yeah.
There's too much talent for to think that the Padres won't be in playoff contention in July. So no one is planning to deal away Dylan Cease, Luis Arraez, Michael King at the trading deadline going into the season. Are you ready to pivot? If something happens, a bunch of guys get injured, and all of a sudden you're 14 games out, yeah, absolutely. You have to consider getting what you can get.
Well,
but that's not the plan going into the year.
No, I mean, it's the worst. You don't even want to think about that. You don't want to think about them being 14 games out and not in the hunt for the playoffs. But as we saw last year, man, so many teams can make the playoffs. You can have a rough start to the season and then still find your way in. So, yeah, I would hate to think about, moving pieces like that at the deadline. And you just kind of know, hey, Dylan Cease is going to earn the right to be a free agent after this season. Let's get what we can out of Dylan Cease and go out and try to win a World Series.
A couple of other notes from Passan of the remaining starting pitching options. Right-hander Jack Flaherty is clearly top of the market. Right-hander Nick Pivetta is next in line. Salaries for starters have been exceptional all winter, and with no qualifying offer attached to him and a tremendous 2024 season, Flaherty is still going to cash in, although it could be on a shorter-term deal. Pivetta was saddled with a qualifying offer, which has hindered his market, but teams still adore his stuff. He'll find a rotation home before pitchers and catchers report.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Baseball's very quiet right now. Very, very quiet. There's nothing going on.
It has been
very quiet.
Is everyone? I mean, it can't be the Sasaki thing for most teams.
No, it's just quiet. It's quiet.
Should only be for 3 teams.
It should only be 3 teams worried about Roki Sasaki right now, and the other 27 should be active in the market and looking to improve their team.
There's no real deadline. The start of spring training, I would imagine, is a soft deadline for some players.
Yeah.
Like, I'd like to be
Depends
able
on
to
the player.
show up at the start of spring training, but it does depend on the player, and there's no reason they can't sign a week or 2 in. And some players are like, cool, I get to miss the first 2 weeks of calisthenics. Great. I'm in no hurry to sign and show up to spring training 6 weeks before the season starts.
I thought if it were me, I would always, oh no, I want to know where I'm playing. Now that you mentioned skipping the first 2 weeks of calisthenics, I'm like, it's actually not a bad idea. Like, I just haven't found where I want to be yet. Miss all of the team pictures and the running and things like that.
You remember the kid who you're in like 3rd grade, and then the kid shows up like 3 weeks into the year.
Yeah.
It's always awkward.
Very
to try
awkward.
To be the new kid.
You've never
with a
been
group
the new
that's
kid
already
in your life.
No, but
Never once.
Other kids were the new kid, and that was always awkward. I tried to be nice to the new kid.
Think about how awkward it was for them.
That's why I always tried to be very nice to the new kid who showed up in the middle of the school year.
F you.
It's not like that.
Did you always sidle up to the new guy?
I usually would try to be,
friendly.
Come up and say hi and be very friendly. I was an empathetic child.
When you're a new guy at a school, and I was a few times, the people that flock to you aren't the people that you end up being friends with down the road. Does that make sense?
I see what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying?
You're not getting the most popular kids right at the beginning, but that's because the most popular kids were always the jackals of the class, the gatekeepers.
But you'll take anything at that point. When you're the
early.
new kid, you'll take anything.
Any friendly face.
Anybody that wants
any port in the storm, as it were.
Any port in the storm. It's exactly. Yeah, sure. I'll be friends with you. Absolutely. Oh, you play the trumpet? Cool, man. All right, I don't, but yeah, we can be friends. Right on.
But really, should you have been not mean necessarily to the new kid, but shouldn't everybody have been nicer to the new kid when they showed up?
And
to
maybe
begin
they
with?
are. Maybe they are now in this generation.
Kids are a little
in
bit
my
better
generation,
nowadays.
I got in a fight, the fist fight, my first day at a new school in Connecticut.
How did that happen?
Playing basketball, and this kid fouled. They did not like.
What's your thought process?
They didn't like the cut of my jib, man. They just didn't. I was from Texas. I had Converse.
You're being tested
on.
a little bit.
Yeah, I was being tested,
and you wanted to show that you weren't someone they were going to be able to push around.
We were playing basketball, and this kid just took me out, and I got up and pushed him back, and he took a swing, and then I took a swing. I was in the principal's office first day. Pete Kellogg.
You weren't going to let someone take your lunch money.
I was terrified. I was brand new. It's not something I want. I didn't walk in there going, all right, time for me to make my... I just wanted to be quiet and play basketball.
Announce your presence with authority.
Yeah, I would announce my presence with authority. No, I just wanted to fit in. I'll never forget him. He slobbered. He had
Did you avoid him the rest of the time, or what happened with that kid?
Yeah, it just ended.
Went your separate ways?
Yeah, we got in trouble.
All right, we got 1 hour, Reindl Report, and more coming up here. 97.3 The Fan, more Ben Woods when we return.
that you never were uprooted and had to move and lived here your whole life?
I do.
Are you truly grateful for that?
I am very grateful for that. You had a more itinerant childhood.
It was very traumatizing. Very traumatizing. What happened to my camera? Not working?
I don't know what you did.
I didn't do anything.
So, you were just telling us about your move to Connecticut. What grade were you in?
Sixth
grade.
Middle of sixth grade.
So it was not even the start of the new year. It was the middle of the school year?
Yeah.
Oh, that's got to be a nightmare.
I was on fire in sixth grade. Hot girlfriend, the whole thing. It was great.
So sixth grade Ben had tried to befriend you at your new school. You would have smelled the desperation on him. Is that what you're saying? That kids who try to make friends with the new kids, there must be something wrong with that kid.
You said it.
You like the ones who play hard to get. Those are the real friends, the ones who don't accept you instantaneously.
I guess.
Those are the more desirable friends out there.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But you got so lucky, man. And I want that for my kids. I never want to move, obviously, and I don't think my wife would. So I think, I'd like them to stay in their little circle for the rest of their youth.
How did that work? I know it's common. It happens every year. But, if you had already started all your, classes and assignments, I know sixth grade's not different, but you come in and they're not doing the same thing, right?
No, I moved back to Texas middle of my junior year.
Really?
Yeah. You couldn't pick two worse times to move.
How does that even work? Do you get credit for your classes?
No.
How do they transfer it over? How does it even work?
And I was way behind. I actually got the only F I've ever gotten in my life was in chemistry. Because I was so far behind when I moved schools.
They have to be able to make some accommodations.
She didn't, though. She made zero accommodations, and I got an F and couldn't play baseball anymore. So, yeah, dude, it was tough. I don't have the fondest memories of childhood sometimes because that was, when I think about it, though, teaches you how to be resilient, for sure. Having to go to the new school and then move back. And, man, I mean, it all ended up great, but it's definitely for me. And my dad, didn't have a choice. He didn't do it because he was mean. That's how it works out, and it happens. But being able to stay somewhere and have that continuity is clutch. And
what about
I want that
dating?
for my kids.
Junior year, the junior prom, school dance.
I left a girlfriend behind in Connecticut and quickly found a new one in Texas.
Quickly?
Yeah, very quickly. Found a new one. Yeah, I moved fast.
They were ready for some fresh blood.
Meat, I guess, as it were. No, I wasn't. That part I wasn't worried about. But it's, you got to fit in. You got your classes are tough. Oh, you show up at baseball, you're like, oh, I was really good at my high school there. And they're like, yeah, all these kids have been playing together for 8 years, so good luck. And,
You can't be the kid who just comes in and immediately steals someone else's position that they've been playing all season.
Right. It doesn't matter how good you are. Yeah. It really doesn't. So it was tough, man. Those are 2 really hard years to move, man. Middle of junior year and middle of sixth grade is about as rough as it gets. If you're a little kid, if I moved my kids today, it would be hard for them. But they would be fine.
We moved. My elementary school was K through 6. Middle school was 7th and 8th. I know some areas are always different with that. So my last year at elementary was 6th grade, and we moved in between 5th grade and 6th grade. And my mom, out of the district or out of the school zone at least, and my mom was like, "There is no chance. I can't let you go there for 5/6 of your schooling, and then have all your friends, and then your last year put you in a different school."
You're finally the big man on campus. This is going to be your best year in that
extra
school.
Driving for her and all of that. We had to figure it out, but we did, and I'm very grateful because that would have been awful, going into your last year at any school.
It was tough, man. It was tough, and then I was friends. I moved back to the same town in Texas, so I had friends that I would come back and see in the summer. They were all a year older than me.
Oh.
So they graduated, and I started senior year and was like, and then quickly, found some friends.
Made some new friends.
Yeah, and good friends.
Jocelyn says, of course, I was a military kid. Had to move in the middle of 6th grade. I hated my parents for a while for that.
I'm so sorry. The military
wasn't
kids.
their fault, Jocelyn. They don't get a choice on that, of course.
Our business is one. We were talking to Dave Rickards the other day, and I think this was before he had kids, but you heard he worked in 10 different markets before he got here. He said that was the only way to advance. I've said it a million times. If this is my last radio gig, I ain't leaving. I'm staying here. I'll just find something else to do. But radio people have done that for years. Oh, yeah. Oh, guess what? We're moving to Boise. No, now we're moving to Des Moines. Now we're moving to Boston. Happens all the time. You uproot your family. I can't do it. I can't do it.
Think about our friends that were at the studio next to us on Kixie.
Yeah.
Rob and Joss.
Yeah.
They left a couple of years ago, but they, together, married couple, doing a radio show together, morning radio,
which is insane.
Is crazy, but kind of cool, but mostly crazy.
Mostly crazy.
And yeah, they bounce around and they move their entire
just gig
life
to gig
together and just wherever they have their show. That's unique.
It's very unique.
I don't
You
know that I could
can't
do
relate.
Not really. No.
You've lived in the same bubble for your whole life.
Pretty much. Yeah,
But
I did from
10-mile
6th
radius.
to 7th grade. I was in a different district, so I did have new classmates. But, you were changing. I was going to be changing schools anyway with a whole bigger. So I didn't have some of my friends that were there anymore, but I definitely wouldn't compare it to getting uprooted in the middle of the year or even in the middle of elementary school or something.
It was nuts, dude. It was nuts. I don't recall it with super fond memories, at all. It was tough. It was really tough, but made me who I am.
Got our football threesome coming up, which is actually a foursome today, since we'll be making our divisional round picks for all 4 games, 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday, and we got our Reindl Report coming up as well. Next week is the Farmers Insurance Open. Now they've been dribbling out the names of some of the guys who've committed. There are plenty of good players. One name that is still not on the list, though, which is a little surprising, is Xander Schauffele. Has not committed. Now, he pulled out of this week's tournament in the desert with an undisclosed illness, so we're still waiting to see, is he going to play in his hometown event, or is something going on? It's kind of a mystery right now in the world of golf as to, because Xander did play in the golf league, or in the
he played
Tomorrow
in
Golf League.
TGL,
last
that's right.
week.
That's right.
And so he was out there. But then this week he's not playing on the PGA Tour.
Got to play your hometown.
I would be sad if we missed out on Xander Schauffele, but I would hope he has a good reason. Of course, it's led to speculation: is Xander going to jump to live? Because that's how it's gone with some other guys. They kind of quietly have disappeared from the PGA Tour. Then all of a sudden, boom! One day they announce they take the big payday from live. I don't think that there's any necessarily truth to that, although. This morning, Live Golf did announce a new TV rights deal with Fox. They've jumped from the CW to a more legitimate outlet. Now, it's not like every tournament's going to be on TV, but some on Fox, some on FS1, FS2, and maybe some of their streaming platforms as well. But it should result in more exposure and more eyeballs on their product. Will it make people want to watch Live anymore? I don't know, but it'll be easier to find. You don't have to search out, the CW or their streaming networks as often. You're actually going to be able to watch the Live Golf stuff. So it's amazing after all these years that we're still in this 2 worlds of golf that no one thinks is good for the sport, yet they can't seem to come together and reach any agreement on how they're going to bridge the divide between the PGA Tour players and the Live players.
It's funny. They desperately need each other. Desperately. The PGA Tour needs its stars back, and the stars of Live, they need competition. They need, real competition that matters. Important tournaments, this weird team formatted, and, all of that, it's for the birds, really. And you got to figure out a way to merge these two. However you do it, I don't know. It's a really big undertaking, but
TGL is team, and
it's not great.
Well,
it's okay.
I think if any of the matches were close, we'd get kind of excited about it. So far, they haven't been.
Yep.
I just think the Live format's weird, where you kind of have an individual tournament and then also a team tournament at the same time, and the shotgun start thing and trying to figure all that out. It has not been something I've been interested in, but mostly it's just the fact that you want to see everyone compete together. Correct. A lot of this is egos, though. The guys who didn't take the money from Live, they want the Live guys to be punished.
Yes.
We can't just let you back for nothing. What kind of what's your
punishment?
What's your punishment? Suspension, fines, and they want to be able to distribute some of that money to the guys who were loyal. And they said, I stayed with the PGA Tour, and now they're just going to get back. They're going to keep all their money, and they get to play on all the PGA Tour.
Right.
Well, you're just making me feel like a big dummy for not going
taking the
to
money.
Live. Instead of rewarding me, you're making me feel like a big giant dummy for not taking the money.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're missing out on several great golfers' primes, and great competition. And I know it happens in the majors too, but it needs to be figured out, sorted out soon, and it won't be.
No, probably not. There was some thought that Saudi Arabia might find more a friendly partner in the new administration coming up, that could change things, but I have no idea how any of that works, so we will see. I watched a little basketball last night, Lakers and the Miami Heat. LeBron, still 40 years old, throwing down alley-oops, and had a really sweet moment after the game. There was this little girl who was sitting courtside, and she absolutely lost her mind when LeBron came up and took a picture with her after the game.
Crying.
I mean, started shaking, little girls tend to, when they get so excited, they actually start shaking to meet one of her icons. But it was sweet to see, and Lakers were way down and rallied for the win. I don't know if you saw the Clippers Nets final score.
No,
last
I did
night.
Not, Ben.
126-67.
Surprised Woods hasn't brought this up already.
59-point rout, the largest win in Clippers history, the largest loss in Nets history last night. 59-point rout. Kawhi scored 23, so he's starting to look a little more Kawhi-like for the Clippers. So I watched a little bit of basketball last night.
That was all that was on, really. I watched college basketball.
And I watched some of the UNLV-Utah State game. I was thinking, I'll get a little scouting report on the Rebels, who were underdogs.
Did they ask you for that?
They did not.
Brian Dutcher and his staff?
It's possible that...
Ben, get your eyes on it tonight.
Paulie's playing the little girl in the YouTube stream with LeBron, and then she got to get her sister into the picture as well. But, I didn't actually see the second half when UNLV pulled off the upset, but they certainly looked like a dangerous enough team that, this is another one that you got to be careful with if you're San Diego State on Saturday.
So what are the standings in the Mountain West right now?
So now with the losses by both New Mexico and Utah State, they're both 6-1. Boise State is 5-2, and San Diego State and UNLV are 4-2.
God, they're beating up on each
Colorado
other.
State is also 4-2. So there's a big. The top half is pretty much just throw a blanket over everybody, but
everyone's beating everyone, and it's
Mountain West tournament's going to be insane.
It's nuts.
Yeah, for the Aztecs, the upshot is you're back within striking distance of first place. The problem is that with 6 teams in the top kind of half. Only 5 teams get that bye into the quarterfinals of the Mountain West tournament, and everyone else has to play a 4th game.
That's right.
Which pretty much torpedoes any chance you have of winning the Mountain West tournament. 3 games in 3 days is almost impossible.
Really tough.
4 games in 4 days, and you're done. So whoever kind of emerges as the 6th place team in that group, you can pretty much write them off in the Mountain West tournament, because that's an impossible hill to climb. So you have to finish in the top 5. Some years the Aztecs have been in that 4 or 5 game. Not the end of the world. You can win it from there. Teams do all the time, but no one wins it from 6th place or below.
All right.
You ready for our football threesome?
I am. We need to figure out a bet, but first I got to tell you about Underdog. California sports fan. Underdog now available to play right here in our state. Best place to cash in on all of your takes during the playoffs. We all think we know, right? We all think we have a general idea of what's going to happen in the NFL playoffs, right? I think he's going to throw for more than 1.5 touchdowns, or I think he's going to throw an interception. Maybe it's Patrick Mahomes. Maybe it's Lamar Jackson. But Underdog makes it so fun and easy to cash in on all your favorite athletes' performances. With their pick'em game, you could win up to 1,000 times your money just by choosing higher or lower on those player stats I just mentioned. They've got all your favorite leagues, teams, stars to choose from. Got golf again this weekend. You can create entries with all football picks or mix and match across all of your other sports. It's really, really fun. Having a great time playing it. Underdog is the best place to play pick'em. So download the app, sign up with promo code Woods, deposit now to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. That is the promo code Woods, WOODS, when you sign up for Underdog. Very simple to do. Must be 18 and over, present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Check. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
We don't have to do a bet, but I'd like to. It's fun. It was really fun looking.
We're going down a dangerous road here.
It was fun watching you in the mesh shirt.
I understand that.
And you look great in it.
I looked okay. Not as bad as I thought. Great is definitely not the word I would
What
use.
about a banana hammock? Nobody would really see it, but you'd have to be in it.
Not really.
You'd just be shirtless on camera.
No, just the
bottom half?
Just the bottom half, but you're
So
wearing it.
No one would see it on camera.
Maybe you show it once.
No, I don't think so.
That impacts our friends that sit in these chairs the rest
It's
of the
true.
day. They don't want that.
I think the problem is
They
that
will just be fully nude next year.
we started
By
at the
the time
mesh
Super Bowl
shirt,
bets.
which,
Yeah, Super Bowl will just be nude.
which is a pretty high level. If we have to escalate it on
I
every
know.
single round of picks now, we're going to get to some really awful places that we don't want to be at.
which is great.
But then again, if we just stop and it's like, I mean,
You
now
can't stop.
everything seems pales in comparison to
I
the
know.
mesh shirt. So I don't know the right way to go.
Yeah, Adam says, I don't. Adam Paul says, I can see it now. HR gets involved.
At
Yeah,
some
they
point
walk
they
in,
do.
we're all nude.
At
We're-
some
I
point
want-
they
it's a
do.
bet. Are you kidding? Hey.
Did you wear a banana hammock?
So good.
No, Ray, no shock collar. I don't want any pain involved.
I can't do the shock collar either. The pregnancy device, I would do it.
Loser has to reenact.
That's what's in.
Somebody
How
said,
do you do that with one person? It really requires a team.
somebody said, put them in a Dodger jersey at spring training. There's no way.
Are you
Because
insane?
No.
that'll live. I'd rather do it nude.
Yes.
I don't even think they let us there at spring training.
Yeah.
Just have the day off. You show up in a Dodger jersey at the Padres. Craig Huner just says, "Turn right around. You're
Just
not,
go. I'm like,
you
I'm paying
can't
off a bet.
You can't be here today." So
I'm sitting there interviewing Manny wearing a Dodgers
No.
jersey. That would be
No,
terrible.
I don't think they would. They wouldn't. No one would sit down with us.
Yeah, no kidding.
So that's not gonna work. Yeah, keep throwing out your suggestions. Maybe something will strike a chord as we get to our football threesome.
Can Ben and Woods interest you in a threesome?
A threesome would be fun.
Oh, not that kind of threesome.
Dang it!
We're talking end arounds, the best tight ends in the world,
He must work out.
and going all the way in this game of inches.
Nice.
It's the NFL threesome with Ben and Woods, brought to you by Hamul Casino. Fun above all else on 97.3 The Fan.
Personal foul, 69, offense. He was giving them the business.
All right, we actually have a foursome of games to pick this week with the divisional round of the NFL playoffs.
We have some deviants in the chat. Do you see what Guy just tweeted or put in there? How about a blank hair mustache? No, I'm not gluing that to my face. I got it. How about this? When we go to fantasy camp, loser has to wear one off the pitching machine in the back. A pitch.
See, I said no pain. That's a extreme pain.
It's not extreme.
It's pretty
He'll be
extreme.
fine.
Like just turn and
Like
I'm
what
good
setting?
with that.
I'm good with it.
Who's going to let us do that?
They will.
They set them really high at spring training.
High enough. They're not really high. Probably 60.
90?
90?
He said fantasy camp.
Fantasy
Not
camp, not spring
Oh,
training.
I thought spring training.
No!
I was thinking of the high velocity machine.
That's insane. Throwing 96 at the ribs.
I heard fantasy camp. I'm like, yeah, that'll be fine.
It's like 55, 60.
All
right, here we go.
All right,
Better
fantasy
just
camp
make
next
good
week.
picks, and then you don't
That's
have to
a good
worry
point.
about it.
That's a good point.
Oh,
I'm a little
nervous now.
gun shy after losing last week.
You
But I
should
made
be.
bad picks last
Pick
week.
better.
Yeah, pick better.
All right, we got 4 games Saturday. Texans at Chiefs, 1:30, ABC, ESPN. The Commanders at Lions, 5 p.m. Fox. Sunday, it'll be the Rams at the Eagles at noon on NBC, and then the Ravens at Bills at 3:30 on CBS. I got the Lions courtesy of ESPN Bet. And we'll start with the Kansas City Chiefs, 8-point favorites at home against the Houston Texans on Saturday. Woods, why don't you go first?
Man, I made all my picks, and I'm looking at them going, I think I'm losing my mind, but I'm rolling with the Texans and the points. I really am. I'm doing it. The layoff, the really weird offense from Kansas City this year. It's 8 points. I'm going to take the 8 points. Houston starts this game 8-0. I'm going to roll with it.
I was leaning that way. I had all the reasons why. I don't think it's a bad pick, but ultimately I decided
it's smart of you to take the Chiefs.
Patrick Mahomes
It's
is
Patrick
not
Mahomes.
It's not Justin Herbert. He's not throwing 4 interceptions. They don't make a lot of mistakes in the playoffs. Houston didn't look very good in the first half until the Chargers started charging. They didn't look particularly good. They've been rested. They're ready to go. They're at home. I'm going to just go ahead and say the Chiefs take care of business like they always do in the playoffs, and I will lay the 8 points and take the Chiefs in that game. Paulie?
Yeah, I'm going to roll with Kansas City as well.
Okay.
They have not been great, I don't think, at covering. But at home, subpar Texans team compared to the Chiefs. I'll take Kansas City.
The other reason why I did this as we go on is that
You have to make up some room.
I have a lot of no, I'm not behind. This is
Behind.
all
We're
brand
starting
new.
fresh.
We're starting fresh. But I liked a lot of the other underdogs, and I just couldn't go
I know.
underdog.
Dude,
I
that's
needed
what I
to
was just
pick a
saying.
favorite, so I decided to go with the Chiefs. But in game 2, the Washington Commanders at the Detroit Lions, I am definitely rolling with the Commanders here, getting 9.5 points on the road. That seems like a lot.
I've got
Jaden
9
Daniels
on
is.
ESPN.
I had 9 on
He's
ESPN.
at 9 now.
Yep.
I'll still take the 9. I think the Commanders keep this game close.
Yep.
Detroit is good, but have dealt with a lot of injury issues. They always have that unpredictableness of Dan Campbell, that they could change things around in a game. And I like the mojo right now with the Washington Commanders. So with that many points on the table, I'm going to go with the underdog in this game.
Feels like a very sexy pick. I'm sure you're not going to be the only one picking it. In fact, I'm going to join you in our Commanders +9 pick. I liked it. Talking to Joe Theismann yesterday had me all fired up, so I'm in.
All right, well, we got the first big change up here then. This could alter the score a little bit because I'm going to roll with the Lions.
All right. So Woodsy's on Houston. Paulie's on an island on the Lions. What about Sunday's game? We'll start with the LA Rams at the Philadelphia Eagles. And this is where I feel like I may make my mistake because I probably should pick the Eagles, but I think I've been swayed by just how solid the Rams looked in that game.
They did.
And Sean McVay seems to have tapped into something with his team, and whether it's the Fires, LA Strong coming together, I have that sense that they may be one of those surprise little team of destiny sort of things going on right here with the experience of Matt Stafford. Hopefully everyone doesn't get sick because of his kids on the plane. But what do you? I have 6.5. You got 6.5?
6.
6?
6.
All right. People are pushing it toward the Rams, but that's not a huge difference. So I'll take the Rams and take the 6 in that game as well.
I saw them breaking this game down this morning on ESPN. And, can Jalen Hurts throw the ball well enough for the Eagles to win? Yeah, that remains a question, but they do have Saquon Barkley. They can run the ball. That we do know, control the clock a little bit. I'm going to go with the Eagles -6. I really think that they can make the Super Bowl. I think there's the Super Bowl.
I think Kyron Williams is one of the more underrated players right now in football. I mean, he's not Saquon Barkley, but they've got weapons on the Rams.
They do.
Paulie?
This is the toughest one for me of the 4 games, I think. I'm going to roll with the Rams as well. Similar thinking as Ben.
On an island again.
On an island again. It's either going to be really good or really bad for you. I saw there's a lot of snow expected in Philadelphia. I think that can change things as well. I think the Rams can keep it close at least. I'll take the 6 points.
All right, speaking of snow, final game, I saw 11 degrees, 50% chance of snow in Buffalo, -3 wind chill. I have no idea what this game is going to look like. And
neither do the odds
I've
makers.
been going backwards and forwards on this one. Buffalo is a 1-point underdog at home against the Baltimore Ravens. Paulie, why don't you go first on this one?
All right, on this one, yeah, I said the last game was the toughest one. This one, it's going to be such a good game. It could go either way, but I'm going to go with the home team. I think the Bills were my Super Bowl pick to at least represent the AFC, so I'm not going to waver on that. I'm taking the Bills plus a point at home.
Honestly, last night when I went through this, I picked the Bills. I'm changing my mind here. And the only reason I'm doing that is the only evidence I have is that when they played in the regular season, Baltimore dominated the Bills. Maybe that means something. Maybe it doesn't in a playoff game. That game was in Baltimore. This one's in Buffalo. That was week 4. This is the playoffs. A lot changes, but Baltimore played really well last week. They've done it before. I'm only giving up a point. I will go ahead and take the Ravens.
This is one of those games I love. I love watching both teams so much. I hate that there has to be a loser in this game. I really do. I'm going to be happy if either team wins. I really will.
It sucks that they can't play for at least the AFC Championship.
I know. I hate this very much. I'm going to roll with the Ravens, though. I think they're going to be able to get the job done. Lamar Jackson exercised some demons last week. He gets the job done.
We didn't agree on a single one of those.
Yeah.
Usually the three of us are at least 1 or 2 games we agree on. All right, well, if something does happen to us between now and Tuesday, we can bequeath our ball to the back in our will to one of our loved ones, possibly.
I give mine to you.
Okay. You can have mine.
Yeah.
This is actually a serious issue, obviously. It's one that Woods and I put off for years and years and years, didn't really want to think about it, but someone came to us, just before our holiday break and said, hey, would you look into this website and tell us if it's something you can use? So we both went online. We both filled out, answered some easy questions, and before we knew it, we had our own legal documents, our own wills to set up and make our wishes known if something should happen to us.
Yeah, we went to trustandwill.com, and it gives you that peace of mind. And you sit down and you start doing it. You're like, I really have to think this out. They make it so easy for you, walk you through every step of the process. And I got it done. And it feels good to get that kind of off my plate. And not certainly something I want to think about anytime soon. But it doesn't make us weird, Ben. 67% of Americans don't have an estate plan.
Yeah,
right?
The court process, probate. You can avoid a lot of the hassles if you just plan a little bit in advance. So make sure you go to trustandwill.com. Use the code San Diego, all one word together. Just jam it together. Get 10% off plus free shipping of your estate plan documents by going to trustandwill.com. That's trustandwill.com. Back with our Reindl Report. Final segment of Ben and Woods next here on The Fan. Couple of more decent ideas for bet payoffs in our chat. We got the pitching machine fastball to the back at fantasy camp next week.
It's gonna be cold too.
Ooh, it is gonna be cold. Can I wear like at least a sweatshirt, like a little padding?
Sure,
You
yeah,
don't have to
of course.
be,
Of course.
I'm not gonna lose this time. What are the chances you lose twice? Are you smelling yourself
Yeah,
again?
Elisa in the chat just asked, "How's the BO situation?" Said it's much better.
Good.
Here, give it a.
I already.
That was yesterday.
No.
Check this today. It's fresh.
Oh yeah, you're good.
Yeah,
you're fine. You're fine. Someone suggested having to wear a Ken Rosenthal bow tie
That's
as you do all the
unbelievable.
interviews at spring training.
Man, he just punches you right in the face right when he sees. What are you doing? What?
That's not good.
All 3 days?
I don't want to. I don't want to alienate any of the players while we're there.
Not because we messed up on our divisional round NFL picks.
Makes no sense.
It's also over a month away. I can't do that. I like something fantasy camp related.
Fantasy camp is great. It's
Because
in
the
a
games
week.
will be Saturday and Sunday. We'll
Yeah.
be out there all next week.
We can knock this thing out on Monday or Tuesday and wear one in the back, and it'll be great audio and video, whoever it is.
All right, Woods is having some camera issues. Fortunately,
That's
this
back.
segment.
It's ready?
Yeah,
It's
no,
good.
you're off again. Fortunately, this segment is all about Paulie and the Reindl Report. We'll get to it right after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
The roads seem to be winding down pretty nicely around the county. Northbound side of the 805 before Imperial, there was a crash in middle lanes. Everything is now over to the right shoulder. Just watch out for a little residual slowing there. That again is northbound 805 before Imperial. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Reindl Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a yeah? Oh, yeah.
All right.
Keeps following Ben. All right. Some fun technical difficulties this morning. How are we doing, guys?
Great.
We're sharing a microphone so we can both be on camera.
You guys should do this
It's
all the time.
not great,
This is
actually.
tight.
You know, your microphone works. Maybe we just don't need to see you for this segment, and you can just be heard.
Everybody wants to see Woods.
You know how the
And it makes you
expression,
uncomfortable.
children should be seen but not heard? This would be the opposite. Wood should be heard but not seen in this segment.
That's what I wanted anyway.
All right. We'll get started here. Got a couple of goofy stories for you guys, but we'll start with the sports. Big news yesterday in college football. Quinn Ewers, Texas quarterback, has declared for the NFL draft. It is Arch Manning time for the Longhorns. Good move. You think he's going to get some high draft stock?
I don't think that I trust my NFL franchise necessarily to Quinn Ewers, but I mean, he'll get drafted and he'll
Is it
get
a third rounder,
shot.
maybe?
Maybe
Second rounder?
I don't know. Not my first choice. Of
Mine either.
quarterbacks,
I don't like
but
this.
Yeah, go back. This is not working.
Giving up on it.
Yeah, I mean, he's not. It's not his responsibility to make room for Arch Manning. I get that Arch Manning and the Manning family is probably putting some of the squeeze on Texas. Hey, we committed. You know, you can't just keep going with Quinn Ewers forever. We came here to play, not to sit as a backup for 3 seasons. And it's ready, and it's time to play. But if Quinn Ewers wanted to go back and play another season at Texas, he would be the starter, right?
I think so.
I would think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what would Arch do? Would Arch have to transfer? See, this is the underbelly of college football where it gets kind of strange. Because I can see both perspectives. I mean, Arch was the most coveted recruit probably of the last 20 years. And then he sits for 3 years? No.
He's been 3? No.
This was his second season. Year? So if Quinn came back, it wasn't going to happen. So he has to leave some way, either in the transfer portal or to the NFL. And he's decided it's the NFL.
All right.
And Arch will quarterback next season as we all expected.
All right. Next up, goofy one here, but potential job opportunity, maybe for a tier 1 out there. Love to help you guys out if you're looking for a way to make a little extra money.
Side gig.
Yeah, a little side gig. Planters Peanuts.
Okay.
They are looking to hire 3 people who will drive around the country in their company car, the company vehicle. It's called the Nutmobile.
Okay. Is it shaped like a big nut?
Yeah. A giant peanut.
Like
it says
giant
Planters
peanut.
Nutmobile. Right there on the
Wouldn't
side
it be
of the car.
amazing if it had to race against the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile?
As I say, it's very similar to the Wienermobile.
What is it? It's just branding.
Yeah, you can see it.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So you will manage event planning for them. You're going to be doing some social media for them. You may have to dress up in costume, probably a Mr. Planters.
Mr.
mascot.
Peanut.
Mr. Peanut.
Yes, Mr. Peanut.
Is that the monocle guy?
Yeah.
Yep.
Very sophisticated.
But here's the thing. Pays $45,000 a year plus benefits.
Okay.
So it's not one of those, hey, we'll give you $2,000 if you can do all of this for the course of a year or anything like that.
I mean, is this full-time? Sounds like a full-time job. Event
if I'm
planning,
driving around the country.
there's a lot of driving involved.
Yeah.
I don't know that $45,000 is enough
I think it's for a
this
year.
job.
Yeah, $45,000
For
for
a
the
year.
year. And you get a travel stipend when you do have to go out on the road and travel.
What's my territory? They get 3 people, right? So they're obviously breaking it up into territories. I think it would depend on what
Eastern
territory.
Seaboard, Midwest, and West Coast, I guess. I mean, that's a lot of territory. Like,
It
hey,
is.
I got an event in Seattle on Monday, then I got to truck it down to Sacramento
Get my
by
ass in the Nutmobile.
Thursday, then it's over to Salt Lake City for Saturday's event.
Probably
and then we
not
got a
something
quick turnaround to Albuquerque.
Yes, probably not somebody that has a spouse or kids. Probably not going to be interested in this one, or maybe extremely interested.
very Pauly interested.
Who also should probably not have any nut allergies.
Yes, that would be the wrong spot, but
$45,000 though. If you're a young single guy or something, you're like, oh, why not?
yeah, and you're like you want to travel, and you're an Instagram influencer anyway. Might as well drive the Nutmobile.
I'm trying to see. I couldn't tell from the picture that you posted. Is that like RV sized, or is it more just like
it's
pickup truck sized?
No, that's that looks like it's got some room.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how big I've seen the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile before.
Yeah.
It's pretty big. It's pretty big. Yeah.
I don't know how big the Nutmobile is.
I don't know how much usable space there is inside the hot dog, but it definitely looked like there was a lot of room inside.
Yeah,
the
you
peanut.
can actually sleep inside the big wiener.
You can't.
No, I made that up. That'd be great. Crawl up into your bunk and you sleep into the.
It looked like you could sleep in the peanut for sure.
Definitely, it's something to live in.
But I hope they put you up at a hotel as part of your road stipend. And you don't have to sleep in the peanut every night. That would get old.
Well, if anybody's interested in applying, you have between now and February 14th, plantersnutmobile.com.
And you do know if you're sleeping in the peanut, somebody's going to be banging on the window.
That's
Every time they say, hey, bro, please leave me alone. Yes, I'm driving the Nutmobile. Here's a packet of planters. Enjoy. Leave me alone. Somebody's always going to be bothering you. You can't do this undercover.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Oh, God, no. All right.
You pull into a Hampton Inn and you see the big Nutmobile just sitting there. Yeah, interesting. $45K? I mean, do it for like 75. $75K.
See America.
How mad would Hannah be? Hey, I got this great new gig. She's so mad at me for fantasy camp, she can't even see straight. Imagine me. I got a jam. I'm out for 3 months.
You don't get paid extra
later,
for
guys.
fantasy camp, though.
It is work, though. Yeah.
It would be work.
Yeah, this is work.
All right, if I said the name Sophia Ross, does that ring any bells for you guys?
Sophia Ross.
0.
It didn't register with me either. Now, this actually, there was an update to this story yesterday, but the story goes back to November. She was the Hooters girl that got a DUI.
Oh.
And viral police body cam footage went out of her.
Yep. She was sexing up the cop.
Trying to seduce the cop, maybe try to get out of that ticket.
Of course.
So we were laughing earlier. So this happened in November, and I remember seeing the clips or story going on.
I did not see this back in November.
We never talked about it.
I don't think I did either.
The audio of her and the cop.
I had heard about this.
It's pretty bonkers. Take a listen.
We're gonna make out here.
We're
gonna make out here.
We're gonna make out.
Turn off the lights. Turn off the lights. We're gonna make out.
Wait, stay right there for me.
Oh, it's my bad. It's my bad.
All right.
I gotta pee, bro.
I know. I have to pee as well.
Bro. I gotta pee.
Okay, do you want to try this first exercise for me?
I will do
Trying to do a sobriety test.
Damn.
All right.
You in that suit? I'll do anything for you.
Did she say I'll do anything for you, Daddy?
Yeah. She's called him Daddy multiple times.
Can you put your feet together?
Put my feet together.
And your hands on your
I'm
side.
whatever you say, Daddy.
Okay.
I'll put my hand on my hip.
No, I was grabbing my flashlight.
Oh, whatever you want, Daddy.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Before we start.
Hey, fair shirt.
Are you wearing
Fair
contacts
shirt.
right now?
Are you wearing contacts right
No,
now?
I'm
Wearing
glasses.
what?
Contacts.
I am wearing contacts.
He said, "Are you wearing contacts? Are you wearing contacts?"
Like, you see this? I am wearing contacts. Did you see this? I am wearing contacts.
In the video, she's lifting up her shirt. She's wearing a shirt underneath, but it's her Hooters outfit. And he's like, "Can you please put your shirt back on?"
I am wearing contacts. I swear to God, I'm wearing contacts.
Hold on. I want you to think for like 2 seconds.
I am wearing contacts.
Sophia.
You might have glasses, but I am wearing contacts.
Hey, Sophia. Hey,
I swear to God, I'm wearing contacts.
Like 2 seconds.
Why are you such a nerd, bro?
In all seriousness.
Bro,
Goose
don't be
gossage.
such a nerd, bro.
Yeah, very goose gossage. So that was
I'd like
back
to
in November.
splice her with Goose. Why are you such a nerd, bro? You're a nerd too. Yeah, perfect. Thank you for that.
So what was interesting was she got interviewed by TMZ recently, and they were looking back on that moment.
Okay.
I guess first of all, how would you feel if you were acting stupid like that, drunk, DUI?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been
somebody you knew.
I haven't been that
be
drunk.
embarrassed.
I haven't been that drunk in a long time. I mean, that's that next level. Like, we're gonna cook out, make out right now. It's been a long time.
I applaud the officer for his professionalism
I did too.
and patience, but also humanity. I mean, he wasn't snapping.
Racist cop Tua. Oh God, cop Tua.
Interesting. You mentioned because in that interview with TMZ, she said that she kind of compares herself to Haley Welch in that a short video can go extremely viral, and now she's calling herself kind of Hawk Tua 2.0.
She's calling herself Hawk Tua 2.0.
Yeah, she says that her behavior back in November, it's really no different than her sober personality, which I find a little bit hard to believe, but maybe not.
Right.
And she said she's been compared to Hawk Tua girl, and she's absolutely here for it. If that's the way this country's heading, I don't need it. We're trying to go viral now. We're trying to become.
You can't try to go viral by getting DUIs.
No.
All right, but Hawk Tua girl, she wasn't driving. She was just on the streets.
I guess I want to live in a society where something like that happens. Hey, happens to the best of us. Be embarrassed about it, I guess, and don't wear it as a badge of honor.
Not like, hey,
this is now my moment.
Now it's my 15 minutes. She'll have a podcast. What's her name? Sophia Ross?
Yeah. She'll be
have a podcast soon.
Can you save the part where she says that she has to pee? I like that one. Because we can use it every time
that's
Woods.
a weird thing.
Very deep.
Woods
of all
has
this
to
whole
go.
story, that's what you.
Woods
what he
often
wants.
has to go use the restroom during the show, and you can just use that now anytime you need to go.
I gotta pee, bro.
I know.
I have to pee as well. Bro. I gotta pee.
That's unbelievable audio. Unbelievable. Yeah, you can't interview her and be like, hey, you're a viral sensation because you broke the law, right? Man.
It was really how she responded to breaking the law. She's not famous for breaking the law.
Their stories are alike. They're both
not.
caught on camera
They're
acting
not.
wild after a night out.
But they're not the same. They're not the same. We've devolved, and we're bad. We're guilty because we're giving oxygen to it.
Yeah.
So
That's a good point.
I take some of the
Hey, it was
blame.
Ben's idea. Ben sent it over.
And Ben likes the pee drop, so there we go.
Okay, do you want to try this first exercise?
No.
Pee, bro. I gotta pee.
Yeah, body cam footage and man on the street interview don't exactly carry the same weight. I agree, Ty.
I would agree with that. Man.
I do feel some sympathy for the officer.
Oh yeah,
in that situation.
Can't be an easy gig dealing with people like that all the time.
Not at all. I guess
it's a bold strategy to try to get out of a ticket that way.
Bet it's worked before. Maybe not with her.
There was a story.
Maybe not with her,
within
but
the last couple of months.
I bet you
a
it's
cop
worked.
had to resign.
I bet you it's worked before.
Yep.
Less so with the body cam running, I think. It's pretty it's pretty blatant with the body camera running.
That's why the other cop in another situation had to resign.
Yeah. But I guess if you had to choose between that kind of traffic stop and one with a, belligerent, potentially violent situation, you'd go with the overly flirtatious traffic stop.
I think so.
For sure.
Man, dude.
Thank you, Paulie.
Thanks, Paulie.
Hey, you're welcome.
I'm still trying to process all of that just happened. All of it. Ben asking for that draw. All of it. I'm just trying to process what went down.
I just found it amusing.
I gotta pee, bro.
I bet you did. I bet you did. All right. Well,
Why
listen.
are you such a nerd, bro?
That's my favorite part, actually.
Bro, don't be such a nerd, bro.
That's my favorite part. Why are you such a nerd, bro?
Why are you such a nerd, bro?
It's on the agenda.
Guess she's not a nerd fan.
No. What's on the agenda today? I'm going to go do a hit with Jake.
Oh, that's
Garignani.
right.
Yeah.
It is your big day.
Yep.
Big Jake day. I said you should wear a Ben and Wood shirt. You said this is more
my brand.
Your brand.
Yeah, I was going to wear a Woods shirt.
only. Woods only shirt.
I'm excited. Get to talk some football and do all that.
Are you?
Yeah, excited.
What time is it?
2:15.
So you got to go and you can come back?
Yeah. I got a busy day.
You do have a busy day.
Busy day.
I'm going to do some laundry, pack up for
camp.
Oh, and you guys are leaving right after the show tomorrow.
We'll be on the freeway at 10:05.
Yeah, I won't be joining you until Monday.
Yes.
So.
Do you have a grocery list for us?
No.
You don't? Okay.
No, I'll be fine.
You trust us?
I do.
To just get whatever.
Just get whatever.
Okay.
It's fine. If I don't like it, guess what?
You won't eat it.
I won't eat it.
Well, if there's something you'd like, just let us know.
If I think of something, I will definitely let you know.
Okay.
We generally don't need that much. There's food at Fantasy Camp.
There is, but it's nice to have some stuff around
We
the
don't
house.
cook when
No,
we're there,
we don't
like
cook.
dinners or anything. So it's pretty simple.
All right. One more show,
A
buddies.
little bottled water would be nice, but I figured you're getting that anyway.
We will.
All right. Andy and Elston coming up next. Still no Roki Sasaki news.
No.
I'm not optimistic for tomorrow either.
Can't wait
but
to do
we'll
4
keep you-
hours on the watch tomorrow.
Why are you such a nerd, bro?
For Paulie Reindl and Stephen Woods, I'm Ben Higgins. Have a great rest of your Thursday from all of us here at San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. So long, everybody.